even in those rounds, it could have been a 3-3 or even a 2-4 that they lost. A lot of those rounds were close. A lot of those rounds were 1vx's or just barely beating the clock. So sure, Chiefs might have a high attack, low defensive win rate going into this match, but I am a bit worried that that attacking win rate is a bit of a red herring and more of a case of small sample size than genuine high-quality attacks that merit that 66%.
Yeah, and that's honestly what I'm really worried about as well. I think it's been one of those situations where just given the fact of the sample size, right, they've been able to at least show something in that regard, but it's definitely one of those situations where it could just all be hot air, right? And that's really what we're looking into here. Is Chiefs actually going to be able to stay on this warpath when it comes to their offensive sides, or have they just been simply blowing smoke this entire time and, been able to pick up some of these easier rounds against some of these opponents? But we'll just have to see. Only time will tell as we'll get into round 1 here. We won't even see Chiefs on that offensive side until 6 rounds later. It's going to be CAG to start us off once again, ladies and gentlemen. And our bomb site of choice for Chiefs, it's going to be downstairs to kick things off.
And I also think that as we see the op bans come through, you might be wondering, like, why the hell have Chiefs banned Maverick? Well, it's actually the main operator they've been banning throughout this tournament so far. At least in the games that I casted yesterday with Rob, it was pretty consistent as well. On Skyscraper, they banned the Maverick and the Mute, and shock here, maybe not banning the hard breach denial, but banning a strong operator on the defense. The Mirror they take down. Again, maybe not like the number 1, 2, or 3 candidate I'd pick on this map, but if you don't have the Black Mirrors by dummies anymore or on Church, attacking this very site is a lot easier, but of course they are defending to start, and they have the Azami. That also makes this site so much better. You just set up a fortress around the AK position. There's not a lot you can do. For the CAG side, banning Deimos and Cade. The Cade, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. Can't get the hatches. Garage wall, probably not something that's going to be electrified all that much, if at all. But the Deimos as well. Chiefs tried to play a lot of it yesterday. They were always running Lion and Deimos, and then Dokeby, Lion, and Deimos. So banning that is a key element of their attacking strategy, taken off the board.
A little bit of an extension over towards Swamp. Little area there next to Lounge. These drones in here for CAG will start to roll around on this mid-floor and start to discover what this bomb site setup is for Chiefs. They do know it's downstairs, but they don't know the full extent of the positioning of these Chiefs players just yet, and that's what they'll look to try and close in on. A lot of these Chiefs members already making some solid moves to try and set themselves up for success, but we might already see an aggressive peek here out of Secret. I thought this player was just going to try and wait idly by to see if anybody tried to work their way in from that lounge space, but doesn't seem like the case as of right now.
Once that hatch gets opened up, you got to be careful that they might just try to hold it for 15 seconds or so, try and catch you retreating back down to the bottom floor. Tex plays it safe, especially with his kit. He's got the shotgun and the C4. It seems to be he is the blue player on this setup, so don't take the gamble, especially since a lot of you are anchoring, especially with these traps. You want to have all that utility.
Yeah, not worth it, especially in a setup like this. Every single one of these bodies remaining makes it to where CAG has to figure out a way to bunker bust this bomb site. If you give them a freebie earlier on into this round, then they know that there's going to be a pretty obvious gap somewhere along the lines, or even if you do cover all your bases with your remaining 4 players, as soon as they're able to get another play going on, then things are more than likely going to go awry for the defense. So instead, Chiefs will play things back into the bomb site, and Quiz will actually be the first one to take down Chibi.
Now, Quiz didn't exactly have the best statistical performance yesterday, but there were a lot of plays that I think could have had a lot of impact, and he just didn't really get the timing right, or didn't go his way, unfortunately. But he was making a lot of moves that I really thought were quite impressive and impactful if he were able to just be a bit lucky, unfortunately, on this map in particular. This time he gets the opening pick. We get a follow-up. Now CAG in the 3v5. I was thinking, all right, they seem relatively safe right now, so how are they going to deal with these Vulcan packs? How are they going to deal with these Kiva barricades? What if it goes too late and they run into an EDD or a C4? Well, now that they're in a 3v5, it's a lot more of a difficult position, and I'm not really even thinking about those things anymore. I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to get down to this bottom floor and make it out alive. They'll sprint into the site and immediately pick up the pace, but Anita just stops firing halfway through the fight. Sheeran Echo might get the trade, but the damage is done at that point. CAG just cannot accomplish anything at the moment. Boogie drone thrown as a Hail Mary to cover the rotate, and Chiefs have got both angles covered. First round for the defense. First round for Chiefs.
Solid patience, able to find those moments pretty early on, all things considered, for that bomb site into the round as Chiefs make the most out of these situations, not only through true gunfire, but also the nitro cell picking up a player from CAG too. And when it's a 3v5 into the basement bomb site, 9 times out of 10 you are not winning that round. It just complicates things too far, and that was a big thing there. Chiefs were more than knowledgeable of the situation that they'd put CAG into, and what do? Well, they just play the entry points and see where you're going to show up.
Yeah, pretty simple, cut and dry. Turtle defense punching a little above their weight, been able to close out the 5v3 as you hope any team would be able to do. Move up to CCTV and Cash now, and it's not Chiefs that are attacking, but I do want to see it from both teams, given some of the stuff, the shenanigans I saw yesterday. Balancing these EMPs while a bandit is on the board. I know there's a 2-brow as well, so breaching is going to be difficult. I thought actually sticking that fuse might be a good idea.
That's what we needed to see.
But I do like these shifts overall. Look at that. Oh, we actually do have the fuse coming through in the... See, I really thought that once you drop off the fuse, I was like, surely he doesn't get picked back up by a different player. But no. And he's got the AK-12 as well, so no shields. But I was going to say, with those Zoto canisters, unless you're going to try to do what some teams, I guess, have been able to do, which is throw the Twitch drone in and just shock it as it comes up. Yeah. Cluster charges, probably a bit easier to deal with.
I like the cluster charge play, but I especially like the addition of Capitao here. Not only does he have the secondary EMPs that can help free with the wall carder, but you also have those arrows that can seriously assist with dislodging the bandit as well. Although given the circumstances of what Chiefs have brought to the table, it does get a little bit more difficult as we do have Cairo on that Tuberao that makes things a lot harder when it comes to trying to break open this wall. Let's see how things go here, though, as CAG begin to try and deal with this electrified breach.
There was a bandit trick, it just wasn't on the exothermic. It actually destroyed the cluster charge that Shiraneko had put down, but now as the Tuberao Zoto canister goes out, I believe, yeah, they have to use a second one to disable that cluster charge. So this is the benefit. If you throw the Zoto canister on the wall, it can't get the entire radius if you put it up top like Shiraneko is doing. So you have to throw the second one, and he's got more cluster charges than you have, Zoto, so they'll put it right back, and... Ooh, do think it gets destroyed again, unfortunately, so we'll try to put it down, but the wall gets open nonetheless. So a little bit tricky, takes a little bit more time than normal, but a minute 20 seconds, certainly a workable round. Yeah,
they made things messy enough to where the defense really couldn't stand tall up against the wall. You're worried about those cluster charges. You're worried about any other pressure being built upon by CAG. Instead, they choose to back off, but also for all things considered, right, they did do a pretty good job of delaying out time. We're about halfway through this round with that breach getting opened up finally, and I mean, at some moment in time when it comes to this bomb site, it's gonna get opened. So everybody's used to playing with that potential obstacle in their way from the defensive perspective, and we'll see how this continues to roll on as we've lost 2 players.
Blackright able to pinch the Azami as the firebolts land beneath CC window, but then gets traded as Tech swings aggressively on the plat wall breach, and now Garage giving a lot of trouble to these attackers, actually. Oda just peeks up. Oh, my lord. Making a name for himself. There is absolutely no reason you should even let him get that kill. He has already steamrolled you on top of rafters. 2 double kills in this round, 1 for Oda, 1 for Tex. The veterans doing the shooting, the calling, everything on CCTV. JBC will step in the goo mine, reveal his position at R90. 1 player falling back will make it past the green door in time. Jigsaw will get the 5th. 3 players fire back on Chiefs. And boy, oh boy, the breach gets open. I'm thinking, oh, we're good. Then Oda had other ideas.
Yep, yes indeed. And these defenses looking a lot stronger than what we'd seen thus far from Chiefs. 2 successful rounds back-to-back, and it's already going to proc a timeout for CAG as they really haven't had a snowball's chance in hell in either one of these rounds. It's been pretty piss-poor across the board, and we're really looking for them to have a solid opener here. We really want to see them not only get the entry, but make a solid consideration towards the site, and that's been the main thing, Carter. Maybe they haven't been able to get the opener, sure, but have they been able to even take a step in a positive way towards the bomb site? Absolutely not.
No, and I think, unfortunately, the reality of a lot of teams now, it used to be, when you think back to like 3 years ago when Wamai, or not 3 years ago, but 4 or 5 years ago when Wamai gets first introduced, we see a lot more teams start really focusing on holding rafters for a long period of time. Now you have all these options to deny projectiles. It used to really just be kind of the Wamai or one guy by himself.
Yep.
Now it feels like as that position has developed, it is a lot more common now than it was then to play a second guy there. You can have another guy pop up and shoot to aid Oda. You can have a guy throwing traps, throwing kibas, throwing a whole lot of stuff. But another important consequence of a second guy playing that position is you can't just throw the firebolts on top of the normal position and dedicate it entirely to that one guy. You might decide to use a firebolt to take down that other player, But that means because one more guy, just over time, has naturally, the strategy has involved 2 players instead of 1. If a firebolt is more likely to get used, and you only got 2 of them, and it's your main way of dealing with that core garage player on the rafters, you might end up having enough util. So what are you left with? A Monty, too scared to walk into goo mines, too scared to walk into dread mines, and very little utility to actually deal with the player right in front of you.
Yep, 100%. Making life difficult for Anatennis Chiefs. And let alone that fact, but even the players, like you said, they're to try and assist him with that situation. They don't have the utility, and at the end of the day, they're not up to snuff in the gunfights to be able to take any of that away from a Rafters player. Making the most out of this situation right now is Chiefs, and they've got to be happy as clams, man, when it comes to the fact that they already have that timeout pulled away from CAG, and now this is just a train that potentially can roll on for 4 other rounds if they start on the right foot.
The clams are not happy when they see me coming. That's all I'm going to say.
I could say the same. I'm known to...
Shellfish hate to see me roll up.
You and Parker rolling over to the oyster bar, huh?
Oh, my God. We would drain the Massachusetts Bay of oysters.
They're very tasty.
So delicious.
Tasty, but,
love the fact that I live in the interior.
Speaking of salty treats, by the end of this, CAG might be a little salty themselves, just depending on how this goes.
We're only 2 rounds in. There's time for CAG to recover. They were able to open the breach.
Where is... thank God.
I was about to say...
Oh, my...
Oh, man, no. Come on,
oh.
guys.
Carter.
Come on.
Carter, I'm getting frustrated. It's happening.
It's okay. It happens.
I need to breathe.
You lose an exothermic, you still got the Selmas, and you actually have 2 impact EMPs from Chibisu. Sure, Thatcher's unbanned. You could run him, but you didn't. It's unfortunate. But you play the hand you deal yourself. So now the EMPs come out. And look at that. Exothermic opened up. Jacuzzi wall open. We still got 1 minute and 45 and 3 Selmas. I see this as an absolute win.
You're being a very good therapist right now. I really appreciate that.
You know, Myers-Briggs calls me the diplomat for a reason.
I'm definitely not using that. That is not the case. But yeah, there is still some positive things going here for CAG, and yeah, they'll be able to use that Selma and those impact EMPs to break open construction, but the biggest issue is right now is timing, let alone that fact, but the fact that CAG has squandered a few of these angles. You think of the things that you could build upon over on the master balcony. A lot of those windows giving you immediate access to these positions, and although some keep barriers in the way, you can just shoot those in common day siege. It makes life a heck of a lot easier in comparison to what it used to be. And something that I was hoping we could see CAG try and exploit, but nothing of the sort. Instead, we're down to a sub-minute here and starting to coil around the bomb site, sure, but no damage done to Chiefs in a lot of different ways that they can try and step in front of their opponents.
Oh my God.
As Shu will get a big kill.
Oh, Shu. Oh, no! Doesn't get the second. Crosshair placement so good there, and he just whiffs the spray. But CAG overall winning the duels they need to. Very briefly, the round reaches an equilibrium, but CAG still maintain their advantage. Ace close around the corner. Oda will take the fight. Shots go wide. He'll push even further as the hard pings come out. The Grim is ready for it, but very low HP. Chibisu's able to land the pre-fire. I was very confused at how they were going to clutch that round out with literally no map control whatsoever. But my, oh my, they have found a gap in cash, and they plugged it expeditiously.
Yeah, somebody's got to be the spearhead. And it just so happens to be our player pushing in from cash directly into construction and completely catches the zombie off guard. A huge moment there for CAG as they're able to bowl over Chiefs. And yeah, Chiefs were able to respond in kind in some instances, but not in a potent enough way to be able to actually pull things back across the line. CAG making the most out of that situation. I think the biggest moment there for them inside of round 3 had to be when they were able to get Tex on the floor. As soon as they're able to down that clash, that opens up a lot of opportunity for them to be aggressive and try and get this case into its home, get it planted down, and try and make the most out of this situation. That's what we see out of CAG, and it bodes a, well, not a flawless round, but a very potent round for them at the end of the day.
That was the main reason why I was confused at how they were going to do this. I was like, I mean, you can just try to win a round off gunfights, but with that clash right there, how are you going to get through that? You just don't have the util to make it happen. But they were able to down her and also get the kills elsewhere to create a very favorable situation for them overall. First attacking round, they win. Gym bedroom going their way, but now we go back down to basement where this round was kind of a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately. Despite the fact that Chiefs were pretty much entirely turtling on the site, somehow got 2 kills on the CAG while they were on a completely different floor. That's going to happen sometimes, especially when you can't exactly always predict without an IQ where those C4s are going to land in kitchen. It still goes to show the fact that CAG were playing very slow, not on the bottom floor, and yet still somehow managed to go to a 5v3. So that's one player peeking below the feet holes of the castle barricade, and again, they weren't turtling this time, Sam. They were playing full-on aggro, and they have accomplished the exact same margins they did before. Sheeran Echo, as we leave the early round, will at least pick up 1, but really it doesn't matter all that much with Black Ray on literally 1 HP. Not literally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, very, very, very.
5 HP.
Very close.
1 bullet.
I mean,
he's going to die if somebody shoots him.
Yeah, he's essentially 1 HP, right? 1 shot, as we like to say. He's been dinked. He's been gushed, depending on what FPSs you play.
Ooh.
But
Okay.
what a position here for Seer. Be able to gun down Cairo. And that's exactly what we need to see out of CAG here. You need to bare your teeth and try and get yourself back into this round. And really the only way you're going to do that, Carter, is by killing your opponent. You have to find these kills. You have to find these openings. And that's one that CAG will be very happy with.
Oda in an interesting position as well. O tries to take the fight with the guy Chan, and Anaton's able to land it. Of course, able to punish that aggression, or maybe too late positioning from Oda. Stuck inside of the bathroom, but he's able to get it done. Sheeran Echo, by the way, bit of an odd player for me on this roster because I was first introduced to him at Atlanta last year on CGL, where he was easily the best player on that team, and since then, he's consistently been bottom 2 for CAG basically all the way through up until this stage. Even in Japan, when everyone's getting above a 100 EPS, he still finds himself at the bottom. So to see him have this impact is very, very nice. I hope to see him make it more consistent because finding this, not only getting that kill on the Azami, but now finding his way down blue to make this a 3v3, and now a man advantage. You're still going to be worried about Black Ray on low HP, but with these Candelas behind you, the E1D as well, you might be able to just start pushing forward, utility landing, but nobody moves beyond the blue hallway for the moment. Jigsaw will creep closer on this smoke grenade. Yesterday, he was so good at this in the late round positioning in ways that the attack just could not predict, that the attack did not expect, won't be able to get a kill for his efforts there. Just tags up the Lion. Smoke grenade goes out, but it might just do better to hide him. Tex kills the backstabbing pressure, and now as the rest flood on in, Anaton downs 1, and it's all on Jigsaw. Brought back from across the pond in the 1v2. He's oh so trusted, and to land 1 shot, I think he can do it.
Well done to Jigsaw. I mean, it's a scary moment there. A scary prospect any way you slice it. CAG, they did enough to be able to get themselves back into the round after the early aggression out of Chiefs on the mid floor that gifts them practically a perfect round if you're playing downstairs in the basement. CAG able to find those picks, able to work their way into blue and get a player off of the bomb site as well, just to make things a little bit more palatable. But what did Chiefs do? They stay true to their guns in the truest sense of the term. A lot of positive gunfights finding their way into Chiefs' hands. And the most coming down there to Jigsaw in the dying moments as he handles that 1v2 with such grace. Very well done to him. And Chiefs now lead by 2 rounds as we continue on into round 5.
Very impressed with them finding a 5v3 on both basement defenses, but in entirely different ways. Playing passively, using your utility, or just maybe peeking a little bit and finding a kill, and then entirely playing aggressive that time. Obviously, they started bottling it a little bit, unfortunately, giving it away and making it a 2v3. But they still close it out. Still a 1vx. Maintain their lead by 2 rounds. Going back to CCTV and Cash. Took a little bit of time for CAG to open up the plat wall, but nothing major. Really, the big problem was seemingly a lack of full utility to clear out that garage position. The Monty had goo mines and dread mines, but mainly the first in his way. The Capital used a lot of his utility to try to clear out the other player in garage, aside from the one that ended up being the core problem for them. And then Chiefs did a good job swinging overall and just keeping CAG at bay and winning the fights when they took them. Operator lineup by the whole, Sam, I mean, we got the Capital again.
Yep.
A lot of stuff has shifted hands, but they could very well run into that exact same problem.
Yeah, no more secondary EMPs for the Cap, but that's because Monty has them instead, so we'll just be able to bring some extra hard breach. And you guys have heard me talk ad nauseum over the years about redundancy when it comes to your offensive lineups, and look at all that there, Carter. You got exothermics, you got Selmas, and you got secondary hard breach too. If anybody goes down, you're still going to be able to get a wall open, but what's happened here?
Oh, the exothermic. I was about to say, So they got the second Zoto canister off, like right as the exothermic reached its apex.
Oh.
And I think literally it is just like when it reaches that point, the explosion is so instantaneous that even if you put that bandit battery down, it just explodes before the electricity can actually render in the game.
The bandit batteries actually turn on post the exothermic turning itself back on for the fuse timer.
Yeah,
So that's exactly what happened right there. Good catch.
What can I say? Really ain't quite something. Still have one Zoto canister, and it seems to actually... Wow, CAG have actually just fully rotated to a con push. You're actually going to be happy you have one of those Zoto canisters still because, as I mentioned yesterday, and Sam, I mean, you've watched a lot of these clubhouses, been the map that it is for a long time.
Yeah.
You're only pushing through one doorway, maybe the con breach as well, and if you don't take garage, if you haven't cleared red stairs, you're in kind of a tricky position. They haven't opened this breach, and yet the firebolt goes in. Jigsaw was playing there yesterday, so that's a good bit of counter-stratting from CAG, but, I mean, you still could actually get in con.
No, and they have quiz downstairs too, Carter. This is so good, but I don't think the CAG knows. I don't think they have any idea at all. That bandit battery is still there. They're actually just dead in the water. They can't get this wall open right now. There's only one more secondary EMP for Shu. He's going to toss that down now. He's waiting for the Selmas to come out, and Tex is like, do I have to shoot it? Oh. He's not going to. Instead, he's playing for the bodies.
I was about to say, well, not only is he playing for the bodies, he's just playing for that C4. He actually throws it up. Oh, used it a bit early in Black Ray. Shiraneko, Anaton just clear out the site. I don't even know what the hell just happened. Everyone from Chiefs tries to take fights, and I think they're regretting it at this point. Cairo quick peeking the breach will regret that one too. And Tex now just running up onto the top floor. Monty spots him, fuse down. There is nothing you can do at this point. Honestly, good shot on an Anaton right there, but Chiefs had a winning hand, and somehow it just disappeared in a moment.
It's all down to CAG still having those active angles around what they were trying to accomplish inside of construction, right? Chiefs are trying to catch them off guard with probably some more aggressive swings that we get to, end up seeing. We didn't exactly get to see them because of the positioning that we had to kind of witness everything that went down, but that's more than likely the case here. As Chiefs, once again, just trying to catch CAG off guard in one of those high-intensity moments where you can kind of swing through and make a big moment happen, but instead what happens? CAG is more than prepared for that, and they find 3 bodies in less than 5 seconds. That's the entire bomb site, all except for Tex, I do believe, that was sitting over there trying to challenge the actual breach that we saw for the main wall. But it was all CAG all day. I mean, yeah, they didn't exactly have the easiest time getting that construction single panel open, but everything around that, just green lights for them as they work their way into the bomb site.
And the broader problem that CAG have had so far with these attacks is their time management, their broader strategy. But one thing that's going well for them right now is actually something that, at least bearing out in the stats, you don't often see, which is you have kind of a top 3 echelon of players. You have Shureep, Anaton, Chibisu, then a bit of a gap, and then usually Black Ray and Shiraneka rounding out the pack with a decent amount of distance between those top 3 and those bottom 2. Shureep obviously doing a bit, not great right now, but it is at least amongst the remaining 4 a lot closer on CAG than it might otherwise be, and even though they are struggling to put these rounds together, they're hitting their shots consistently enough that it is bailing them out of difficult situations. I mean, getting that 5v2 there is insane with the little control they had. Oh, I mean, read like a book there. That's Logi Hatch. Like, it's not like you're fusing an off spot. Cairo was ready for it, and Shiraneko is regretting that one.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it too, because that's just not something that you really expect to get away with in a situation like that.
Also, like, what utility is... I know the cluster charges propagate kind of widely, but I can't think of a lot of utility in Logi. I'm like, gotta fuse that at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not really a lot of things you build up around that hatch. Yeah, you might have some things like maybe a roll of barbed wire underneath the hatch, or maybe, a dreadnought mine or something around there, but that's really it, Carter. Past that, you're really hoping that one of these things takes a solid bounce and goes over inside of gold and does some serious damage.
And also, maybe you should probably place that cluster charge later in the round when people around Logi or Khan are actually focused on the push as a whole, like, I don't know what's happening right now where the Monty's actually in.
Yep.
Then maybe, think about it this way. You push these people back, they start rotating into Khan, and then you place the fuse charge down and then detonate it. I mean, to be fair, maybe that's what he wanted to do. Place it there, leave it late, then activate it. But even then, I'm trying to read into it and think of it, and you still place it in a very calm moment of the round where they can react and will just take you down. Cairo, again, unread in the position. He's tagged up Shuri. Thank God the Ash gets away. They'll move forth, but...
Come on, that's twice. Two people putting utilities on something soft and get immediately done up because of it. I mean, CAG are falling apart at the seams here.
I mean, they'll try to pick up the pace, and the Monty just pushes in deep into the site. But, yeah, there's Vulcan packs. You're going to be forced back and tagged up by the fire. It's 20 seconds. You can't push into the site with still 50 seconds remaining. But it just goes to the point that the utility, the gunplay, everything for Chiefs is just a little bit better than CAG in the hold, not only in this round, but as we've gone through this half and now approached this final round, stuck inside of Khan. Jigsaw with the third. That's the player sitting around metal balcony gone. I don't even know what you do at this point.
You know, I think you made a really good point earlier on inside of this round. And really, it's kind of in a vacuum because this has been the biggest round that we've seen it be a massive proponent of what's going on, right? But a lot of this feels mistimed, Carter. A lot of this feels as though they just don't have a really good understanding of what the positioning is for these players. But a little antsy there. Chiefs will be able to win via numbers in the dying moments of that round and have a 4-2 split here for our half. And what a half it was. But just to kind of finish my point there, CAG just not really having things in good timing and just honestly not good layering at the end of the day. I mean, you know, a lot of those different positions that they ended up taking up and a lot of different ways that they implemented their utility across that map, across the board, was just not positive. It was not something where you really thought they were going to be able to make the most out of the situation. And they end up going punished for that time and time again. And obviously the two big ones being Fuse on the roof and Ash on the window for Metal Stairs.
And when you look back at the attacking rounds that they won, you know, the first one being that gym bedroom attack, and the second one being the CCTV cache one, a lot of the story there was just them hopping into the site and winning the fights that they took, but not a lot of utility setting it up, or if there was utility intended to set it up, it didn't have a factor in the end. That gym bedroom attack was mainly just breaching, and the only execute op was the Grim, which was important, but I think the guy pushing Khan probably still hits that gap even without the bees there.
Yeah, 100%.
And on CCTV as well, you had really no execute utility. Sure, you had the Capital, but again, there was no utility used. They just shot everybody pushing in. That's commendable. That's good. But when Chiefs have won those fights, there has been no structure, no plan that CAG could fall back on that could then bring that man advantage back.
Oh, man. Last time we saw a play similar to this, Carter, it was Canadian inside of Kitchen. And I believe he was still on Dark Zero. Quiz is going to be able to take down Chibisu.
Poor guy. Never stood a chance.
Yeah, dude. Life is hard in this current iteration of Siege for roaming defenders. I mean, if that Blitz gets around you with another hot gun, life is just nothing but good. Like, or everything past good, rather. It's just not exactly going to go your way. So, unfortunately enough for CAG, they will be presented the bad news pretty early on into round 7 as Chibi will go down.
They literally see the Mozzie despite the Mute Jammer and the Mozzie Pest, so you can't drone it out now. And I mean, I guess you got to be concerned there could be somebody in there, but where are we even dying from, guys? I mean,
what the hell did Tex just do?
Sheeran Echo, the Mozzie was off site. Oh, did he try to? I guess he tried to push secret. I guess. That's That's unfortunate, I guess.
Well.
And then now the kitchen hatch is just open for free. Think about. I mean, I know Cade's not on the board, but could maybe had some impacts if you wanted to switch up the lineup a bit, burn more time, but you decide to base everything on that roam of kitchen, then two people die anyway. The Mozzie's got to rotate back at a minute 50, and look at that. All of Dirt is soft, too.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine. You can share knees.
I went to motion towards
knees.
Carter. I just smacked his knee.
They say I have the best knees.
There are some pretty good knees now that I take a good look at them. And you know what else is good?
Nothing's going on.
Everything's good for Chiefs.
There's nothing's going on.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing going on if you're CAG. In fact, this is probably the worst thing that could happen to you with how their strategy was set up. I mean, everything is begging you to hold on to kitchen.
We're going to roam. We're going to waste time. We don't even need to win a fight. We're going to burn time. Oh, it's a 3v5. We're going to have to rotate back a minute into the round. We open kitchen hatch. We left Dirt soft. Guys, we put ourselves in a bad position. I think we've trolled a little bit.
Uh-oh.
They just drop. I mean, yeah,
no,
you just drop sight at that point. And
no!
Ooh, hold up. I actually want to see this from Tex. He got both those kills. A little bit of a spray transfer had to happen there. Look at that. Oh, it just peeks the other angle. Less impressive than I thought. But hey, still a double kill. Good job for Tex. Kind of wishing we still had that tactical timeout for CAG. Admins, can we actually just give them a second one? Because I really think they need it right now. This is their map pick.
Man.
This is their map. They were banning the maps, and they were like, life's on the line. I hear Lynx is going to hype us up, that they're here to play, that they're competitive. Took a map off G2. Beat Lynx's favorite team. Beat his favorite team. Just want to say that again. And now what are we seeing? On their map pick, the attacks are very lackluster. If you miss those shots, it could be very well be a 6-0 with the structure they had going into them. And now the first attack we see,
oh, Lord.
They try to set up a roam, and then 2 of them die immediately. Now, it's good for Chiefs to play that aggressive, but because you lost that so early, now you just feel like an idiot for opening that up.
Yep. Well, yeah, and that's the thing about harebrained schemes like that in Siege. You're either a brilliant brainiac that we're all going to praise for months to come because you did the craziest thing that nobody really goes for on, said bomb site, or you're a fool. That's the only 2 options. And this time around, better get your jester clothes on there, my friend.
You know what? Maybe Shirip gets like a quad kill there if the rest of his team doesn't get shut down and lounge in secret.
I think for me, still, it's the fact that we have all those mute jammers and all of those Mozzie pass.
You can still see in the kitchen.
Oh my God, Carter!
It's like, hey guys, there's a Mozzie in there.
It's like, so we haven't set this up in our own server and had like our coach try and drone this guy out before. Like we haven't done anything to try and see if this actually completely stops the drone game. No? Okay, that's fine. Well, you know what? We'll pull it out when we're essentially down to 1 stock at the Montreal Major. I think that's a great idea.
Well, same situation that Chiefs, or the same op lineup they used to employ and try to unsuccessfully open up the plat wall yesterday, or at least after a lot of effort, and seems to be going a lot better, actually, than it was last time. If that Zoto canister was not there, that exothermic would have gone off successfully, and the 2 rows used all 3 of them before we even got to this point, before we even reached 2 minutes. So, to compare, I know I said it, the Chiefs had a lot of bad coordination opening up this wall yesterday. That is like 120% better than what we saw yesterday. They actually do it in like a reasonable time. And all the utility they waste, all the Zoto canisters, of course, only 1 bandit battery up still. We'll see what they do now, but looking a lot better than their attacks on this site yesterday.
And she is already looking to try and enter into the building and try and get some considerable map control. Who is this? It's going to be Cairo. He ended up dropping down that hatch. We saw him earlier waiting to try and drop into Logi as Chiefs begin to coil around this bomb site. I'm going to have a player on essentially every single entry point trying to get in through windows and breaches as well as the construction area. It's up to Chiefs to try and use this last minute to its absolute fullest.
Based on the trajectory of this round, assuming Chiefs were able to open up the con wall, which bandit battery right there, so you got to be careful. But it does still have an exothermic. He did not place it just now. So if they're able to use a nade or something. Ooh, Cairo able to cut down Chibisu, getting aggressive on that green door. But this breach remains elusive. This bandit battery still there. Nade thrown over. C4 sent out in response, and you lose the very guy that was about to open up that wall. That is a tough pill to swallow, unfortunately, and I don't know if Tex has the time to place a hard breach charge down. Well, certainly not. He's dead. His time has run out. 3v3. And with this breach closed, you're praying, I think, Quiz will try to lurk up red stairs or hop in the window and get a whole bunch of kills in a very small amount of time. The Azami is very trained on the window right now, and maybe the red stairs player as well, but no way!
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Gets hip-fired, and he's got intel on the second.
Oh
Quiz
my God.
pre-fired
Oh my God.
Opens up round 8. That's the kind of plays I said. The timing didn't work out yesterday, but there was a whole lot of potential in Quiz. And we see it right there.
Just get the hell out of here, man. What the hell is that? Oh, man, I wish we had replays right now.
You call it luck. I call it divine intervention.
That's really all it can be, dude.
You read the Bible, Ringo?
Sure. I don't know who Chiefs were praying to, but they were praying hard because there's no other way that Quiz wins that gunfight. He is not getting that scope up close enough to his face at all. And I promise you, a millisecond more, and he ends up dying to the pure gunfire that we see out of our Tubarao. But instead, what do we get? A hip-fire headshot from Quiz, and something that completely blows the doors off of CAG after they did such a good job, Carter, of delaying things out. They even knew where Chiefs wanted to try an entry from. They even knew that there was some potential for Nook to try and work up the red stairs, and none of it goes their way.
Think about this, though. CAG start defense on Consulate.
But it's not their map choice.
CAG start defense on Consulate.
Before I say this, let me check this really quickly, because I don't think that CAG have a great
Don't
history.
worry, I'm going to tell you, Consulate is defender-sided, Sam. Don't you worry, I'll save you the time.
Let's see.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I really thought there was going to be more of a fight, especially on their pick. I'm honestly kind of surprised at how poor CAG are looking on both of these sides. I mean, we still have Consulate, which they did have a good result on earlier in the tournament, but, like, they looked strong today against CL4L. They had a really good performance against G2 that they let slip away, that they were really in control of to start this tournament. And this is almost looking like a different team than the one I've been watching so far. It really is surprising. Chiefs are obviously playing well. They're taking fights confidently. They're winning them. They're fighting and getting good control, but it is just CAG will try to do things, and it just doesn't work out. At least you get away with that rotation right there. You're happy about that one.
Yep.
Still something that Chiefs didn't need to win.
Such a scary prospect right now for not only CAG, but all the fans at home. Huge deficit stands directly in their face, and really, what do you do about it in a situation like this, Carter? I mean, you got to get the ball rolling in some regard, but you don't want to try and play too aggressively. You want to try and go back to the strategies that you're the most comfortable with, things that you think will be able to get around across the line and at least get you in the good graces of one bomb site. And that's what CAG are hoping to do here on the basement. They've been able to keep themselves alive, although it's been pretty close. But as soon as I say that, the caster's curse comes through and Jigsaw nukes Anakin with a frag.
We've had like more nade kills in 2 days than we've had in like some tournaments.
Yeah, what the hell is happening with that, by the way?
Since the nade change. I don't know. I think people might just be better at banking them and cutting the timer in half, maybe. But I don't know. It has been kind of weird, and that's the Maestro you take down as well. So Evilize a little less impactful than they were before. Really, all is riding on this blue player to stand tall to hold this position. I mean, if he falls down, and with the kitchen hatch open, you're going to be able to play the man advantage. You'll be able to drop into the site. You'll be able to use the bees as well to cut off a lot of those angles with the flashbangs going in too. Kyra does fall. That's very important. That's the blitz gone, but Chiefs still maintain that advantage, even pushing deeper into the site. Tex cannot be stopped. Breaching double digits this round, though it's all he'll get. It allows his team to enter the site, allows his team in round 9 to close the book on CAG on their own pick. Leave the final bit of work in your star player's hands, and it is an easy 7-2 victory for Chiefs on a map I really thought we were going to see more from CAG.
I really did. I really did as well. You know, especially given the circumstances that it is their map choice, I felt as though they should be confident on at least one of these sides, and nothing really doing. I mean, just looking at their stats across the board, it's just not a great showcase, especially at the moment in time that we've reached. I mean, this is the 11th hour. You have to be able to hit your stride, and you have to be able to do it well. And CAG, they simply just, they can't dance, man. They got 2 left feet.
It's not like they're coming off a really hard-fought, heartfelt, victory as they're here, but a really difficult game against CL4L. It was a 2-0.
Yeah.
CL4L, I love the guys, kind of started collapsing at points in that series, and CAG did 2-0 them and kind of just diffed them at certain points. Obviously, that takes effort, that takes will. You're not going to be fully charged going in this game. But, man, that looks like they were tired. Like, that really, I can't say this enough, that could have been a 7-0. The only reason CAG were able to pull those 2 attacks over the line was, to be fair, winning 3 fights and not dropping a single body, which is a feat that is still impressive. But it goes to show that if these players, who were still struggling to hit shots at any point, just hit 4 to 5 shots less, or 4 to 5 less kills, Chiefs might have won 7-1. 7-0 even, because there was no fundamental structure that was propping up those attacks.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point, especially if we look at that round where they go for that spearheaded construction where they catch a zombie completely off guard. Just think if Chiefs are prepared for that situation at all as they bully their way in through cash. That's more than likely easily a 7-1 in that position as they're trying to pull the man count back across the line at that moment in time too. It's just a really poor situation for CAG right now, and especially if that's what we're going to see on a map that they feel as though they can win against Chiefs on. I am very scared for what we're going to see on Consulate.
In an odd way as well, the warning, the caution I gave to everybody about watching Chiefs in this game, hearing their strong attacking percentage and saying, hey, be careful, that might be a red herring.
Yeah.
What actually ended up happening was their attacks yesterday were a red herring. I'm not saying they were insanely good. But yesterday, they were very sloppy. Today, they were just competent. Today, they got the walls open, got the control they needed, and the time they needed. They played off each other well, and that was enough to beat CAG today, or beat CAG on this map today. And it was actually CAG so far, with the performance they've had, that at least on Clubhouse, they just did not show up. They start defense on Consulate, the next map that we have, and they got to show up there on a necessary side, because it's Chief's pick, and every round counts. We'll see Consulate right after this, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, that didn't go well for CAG. Did not go well. Just be honest. Let's lay it out there. Let's just all be honest with each other. It didn't go well. Some people might dispute my sentiment that I believe that could have been a 7-0 or a 7-1. But even if I believe you are a diehard CAG fan, which you're right to be, I don't think you could really make a credible argument that a 7-2 was... that anything more than that was possible with the way they were playing in that map.
Yeah.
And that's going to haunt them going into Chiefs pick.
Yeah. In fact, there could have been a whole heck of a lot less depending on how those other rounds went. I mean, you and I kind of talked about that in the ending moments there of kind of our pseudo-analyst desk at the end of map 1. But Chiefs, they've got to be happy as hell, man, because that game was pretty easy peasy at the end of the day. There was just not a lot of struggle that CAG put forth into the court, man. And it made life very easy for Chiefs at the end of the day. Didn't really have to sweat things too much, and now they move on to their own map pick in the likes of Consulate, which could provide a whole heck of a lot of different instances where they can practically achieve the same thing.
Of course, it is difficult to entry on Consulate, and they will be starting on that attacking side. I think just in this case, having Jigsaw on your team, potentially going to just be a lot more impactful because of how good of a player he is, how good of an entry he is. So him being able to have a factor in this game could be a massive recipe for success for Chiefs as they do start on what is typically the harder side. But with the lethargy we saw from CAG on Clubhouse, the attack's not great, and the defense is even more so. They would hold out on the site, and then Chiefs, to be fair, would maybe take a little bit too much time, have a little bit too little control. Would still manage to get Tex into a position where he gets a 2-piece, Ode in a position where he can pop off, Quiz in a position where, with a little bit of luck, he's still able to completely pull back around that seemed Chiefs were going to lose, and going to lose at pretty dominant margins. Well, maybe not that, but still going to lose without much of a real say in their overall fate by the end. So as we get to Consulate here, as you are starting out on the defense, this is not only a necessary time to start winning back the vote, but also the best time to do it. You are starting out on the defense. It could be a little bit easier as long as you weather that first storm.
Yep.
As long as you don't let Chiefs shock you in the first round, might be able to calm down and reassert yourself.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it's a lot of doom and gloom for CAG right now, given the circumstances of what we saw on Clubhouse, Carter.
You don't think they're happy with Clubhouse?
Probably the farthest thing from, I would say. But there is some positivity pulling, or rather, driving on over to Consulate. Chiefs are going to ban out Blitz. They'll be taking that away from Anaton, so only be the Monty available for offense. But the big thing for CAG here is that they played up against G2 on this map, and they looked very solid on the defensive side when it came to Consulate. So there is some green lights here for CAG. I don't know if they're going to be able to land this plane, but at a bare minimum, they've got some decent air to start off.
I'm literally, Sam, I'm holding on to that G2 Consulate game between CAG and G2 like Bruce Willis in Evil Dead 2 when he's holding on to the plank. He's about to get sucked into the portal.
Yeah.
He's literally pulling him back, and both his feet are in the air, and he goes, he falls back. That's literally me right now. Like, there is so much hopium coursing through my veins. That is entirely because of that performance on Consulate, which was the first map they played at this whole tournament. I know they can do it. This team is looking better, especially with the performance we saw in Manchester. Like FearX, though I would say a step above. CAG have been starting to finally put the pieces together, making some roster changes, making some play style changes that have been paying off. And I would hate to see the journey end here, especially after a poor map like that, but then to see a map, even if it's 8-7, that they beat G2 on. They beat G2 on, who are looking at least maybe a little better than that previous roster towards the end at least.
They're looking more proficient for sure.
You'd hate to see them go out like this. You'd hate it. I would hate it at least.
Listen, I'm right there with you. You know, and that's the thing. When CAG are performing, they're a roster that is not to be trifled with. They can do a lot of different things, and they're pretty creative across the board. Even with Anaton. Anaton does not need a shield to find success, guys.
And let's be honest, they got great players.
Yeah.
I mean, Anaton is definitely probably, I would think a lot of people would agree, is the best player on this roster. But right out the gate, Sharif dropped 22 kills.
Yes.
Like,
to go from that to what we just saw in Clubhouse is a pretty stark contrast.
wait, that was Bang, not Consulate. Silly me. Apologies,
But still, I mean, the point still stands. You have an incredible record, even on Bank. Bank's a hard map to clear. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can get punished, especially if you aren't, all encapsulating. The defense can get away with a lot of different antics.
They can.
And Shoe Reap still with a 22. What was it, like 22-9 or something like that? Just an absolute demon on Bank. But still, I think the point still stands. CAG had a very positive notation to start things off here for this entire tournament, and now it's came down to a very poor map up against Chiefs. That was their own map choice leading into Consulate, where you get the favorable side, but things are starting to become worrisome. But
I love this.
You sing his praises, and he shows face. Shoe Reap will take down Tex, probably the most impactful player from the last game.
Oh, absolutely the most impactful player. The veteran member, formerly Tex.Fnatic, making the comeback, making his first international land in quite a long time. The first to go down on the striker. Candela going out, and he's like, oh, God, there's a clash looking at me. He's really disappointed by that, especially as he's calling over his buddy to play close on the blue doorway. And, of course, he got somebody, in this case, a Malusi, playing behind the shield on Vending Machine. Taking this position is difficult. Taking it a 4v5 is even more so, especially when you've already used 2 Candelas. Both of your frag grenades from Jigsaw are gone. Your best shot is quick peeking with an Ash Charge to destroy that shield, and I just don't think that's happening.
Yeah, let alone the fact that quick peeking's kind of impossible right now, given the position of those Banshees. You're going to have to be practically picturesque in order to not get tagged by one of those and either give up the goods or make a gunfight very easy for somebody when that thing does slow you down. Kandala in, it'll get soaked up by the magnet, and Chibisu is just going to stare it down. And he's going to get full-whited, but nobody's really there to try and grab the reins in a position like that. You can see Chiefs are trying their best to find a way into this top-floor bomb site, and it looks like they want to try and build up at least one player around yellow. Oh, very scary there for Jig for just a second.
It's a pretty easy read for CAG to be like, well, they're not clearing admin. They're going to rotate, so let's start looking towards yellow, looking towards Spiral, and what do you know? They find somebody. Jigsaw's got it back down, and as he starts cresting the top of it, they lose another teammate. Fortunately, Quiz goes down. Cairo will finally find one as Shironeko falls, but think of all the utility that's still in the way. Think of the clash that's still on the board, and Shuriep still riding behind the vending machine, never leaving. Jigsaw will give some respect to that position and will win that fight. So still in a disadvantage, but Cairo coming out of the smoke. Fodder for Chibisu's secondary. Only 1 kill for Jigsaw, and the clash is hunting him down to give that information. One player around the corner might just be able to land the shots. 417 is awfully damaging when you land shots like that. There really isn't a whole lot you can do. Hold on. Except maybe find 1 frag. He's not winning the round, but nope. Can't even find one beyond the one they initially got. Look at the energy. They're getting back into it. They went around, and it was very good. Did they have to do a lot? No. But did they need to do a lot? No.
No. Just had to play into the hand that they're dealt, and especially after Shoe Reap gets that big pick initially, it was all just down to playing Consulate, how the map begs you to. Play into that utility game, play into that denial of space overall. Any way you want to do it, whether it be through shooting at your opponent, laying utility down, whatever, you want to try and hold onto that map control, and that's exactly what we see out of CAG, Carter. I mean, name one area of the map that Chiefs took that was actually important. They never got a hold of anything. They don't get a hold of checkers. They don't get a hold of front desk. There's nothing really going on for them in that regard. They're constantly kept at the gates by CAG.
You know, technically speaking, admin is important because if you're doing an admin clear, you got to start somewhere.
That's true, but I wouldn't even consider that the true gate to that top floor bomb site. You already know what I'm going to say. It's got to be checkers, and they were never able to cross across that tollway.
No, that is true.
And that's where we're stopping.
That's where I'm stopping.
I concede.
Yeah, it's like that's a fair point. Got me on that one.
Oh man.
I will. I've never met a hill I wouldn't die on, but sometimes you got to lay down your sword.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And CAG was more than happy to just rest with sword in hand on that one and just see how Chiefs really wanted to try and finish out the rest of that round.
Mozzie
because a lot of their utility, a lot of their value already soaked up inside of those opening moments. And we might have another moment like that right here. Shoe Reap, time and time again. That's already 2 in a row. He's going to take out Jigsaw, and nobody is home for the Chiefs.
I'll hold up there.
Oh, God, Tex. Come on, man.
All right, well.
Mismanagement of this situation. It is so poor for Chiefs.
It's like that Simpsons meme where, like, I don't remember his name. I'm sorry, anybody that's older than me, but, like, what's the grandpa's name?
Oh, dude, I did not watch Simpsons. I watched South Park growing up.
Yeah. That that makes sense.
Let that one speak for itself. All right, I'm just going to shut up.
It's like the meme where he walks out the door, then immediately grabs his coat and turn around.
The
joke really doesn't work anymore because I don't know the character, and it took a long time to explain the meme. Either way, Shurip killed 2 people, and now again, it's like I don't really know how Chiefs are going to find a way out of this round. They have a lot of the core pieces. You got the exothermic. You could maybe, I was about to say open the garage wall so there's no hard breach denial, but now you've lost Quiz.
This is really bad.
This is not going well.
This is really,
going
really
very bad. Great pre-fire. I love that pre-fire. That pre-fire. The round-defining moment for me. Nothing else happened in that round other than that pre-fire. Stop the count. We did it.
I'm not going to laugh.
You can laugh.
I'm not going to.
You're allowed to laugh.
Nope.
I'm a funny person.
Yeah, but then, like, I'd be doing too much for your ego at that point.
All right.
See, no,
come on, it's not all right and on that one.
You just burned me on. I opened myself up to you. I said I watched South Park growing up, and you said, "Of course you did, Samuel."
Yeah, of course I'm gonna make fun of that. You think I'm not? Either way, point being, similar to a lot of that clubhouse, just not a lot has happened from Chiefs. Unfortunately, they try to get into admin, can't move past checkers. Try to rotate, and they rotate so late that CAG are just ready for it. Round 2. I mean, like, what do you even say? They tried to clear admin. They didn't catch the Mozzie in there, so Jigsaw dies. Hey, maybe you misdrone it. Maybe the Mozzie gets a timing.
Yeah.
Who knows? But then winning that second fight with the guy on Repel, I mean, you've lost 2 players within 40 seconds of starting a round where you were going to try to full clear the top floor on a basement defense. That is just kind of an irrecoverable position, especially when CAG start playing, start pulling back to the site, and then they win a 3rd fight.
Yep.
Like, what are you going to do?
Yep. That's my biggest thing for Chiefs inside of that last round. They were trying to accomplish way too much across the entire map, and they weren't kind of bringing things back to bear in the one portion of the map that they wanted to start off on, which was admin. You have that player over on the manager window for hallway, and then it's just Jigsaw alone on an island in top admin to try and figure things out, let alone the fact that you had no idea that Mozzie was there in the first place. And yet again, another pick coming out of CAG, and it's all just these aggressive antics that we've seen, this time in through secret, and he practically gets away with murder.
All right. To be fair, obviously, got to check everything, but, like, I wouldn't expect that either. Like, I would not expect a Soulless running the shotgun to open up a hole in the wall and to shoot me printer window. CAG are starting to reach a point as well, but they are genuinely ratting in a very successful way. It is not being accounted for by Chiefs, and it is one of the main ways that, not that they're winning these rounds, but they are just setting themselves up in such a strong position. You really couldn't tell based on the way they're playing that they just got smoked on their own pick. They are playing confidently. They're energized. They are just ready to go.
There we go.
Shurip takes that fight, and he doesn't even care. He knows he's getting traded, but he wants to do every bit of damage on the way out. Puts Quiz in a bit more difficult of a position, and Anaton will fall back as a result from it. But look at this again. Another successful early round from CAG. 3 opening kills in a row. It has been such a strong start for them on Consulate.
Yeah. Obviously it is Consulate defense, and this is something that we've seen them find a lot of success before against a much stronger opponent in the likes of G2. But it just goes to show you how this map ticks and how difficult life can be even if you end up losing 1 body early on, let alone 2 to 3. And that's a reality that we've constantly been seeing Chiefs live in. Yet again, we're going to have it here again in round 3 with that opening kill coming at a moment's notice as soon as we practically start the round. So now CAG will try and rest on all of the value that they've been able to pick up throughout this round thus far and see if they've done enough to try and close out Chiefs in the dying moments of round 3.
And that value should be pretty high. I mean,
wow.
All right, never mind. I was about to say, well, Chibishu's ratting in art, so if he just sits there, I doubt Chiefs will clear him, but he decides to rotate out, and it's in front of the hatch, unfortunately. So Chiefs get the 3v3, but now we're really looking more towards the yellow player. You don't want to overplay your hand here. You don't want to push too far, because even if they set up this flank drone, sure, you're spotted, but now just staying alive, you're going to be a bit concerned. Blackberry even pushes forward, hits the flank, and takes down Oda. I think maybe even thinking that, as did I, that the Soulless was the one flanking when that just was not the case. CAG are playing aggressive, they're playing confidently, and gotta say, sure it's constant defense, the bounce back is impressive. Bounce back is really impressive. This is just a completely different play style, a completely different team than what we saw in those clubhouse defenses.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think this is something where CAG just feel very comfortable when it comes to their consulate defenses. And, I mean, obviously, thus far, they've had a very strong strategy as to how to deal with Chiefs Esports, let alone the rest of the pool. I mean, this is very similar to what we saw them pull off against G2. Obviously, weren't opening up every single round with an opening K, but, you know, doing their most when it came to holding down these bomb sites. And now with a perfect site rotation, they've procced that timeout by Chiefs. And I think this is a perfect time to take this because we've kind of already touched base on these opening moments here for Chiefs, but you just have to put more value into these opening moments. You have to be able to take control of the area of the map, especially on consulate, that you want. If you don't have the bodies there in order to do so, and it's going to be one of these 50-50 gunfights, if that ends up going the defensive way, you have hamstringed yourself in such a serious moment, and we've seen what comes to fruition when that happens. It's a perfect defensive side so far for CAG.
Perfect defensive side rotation, and never less than 3 players alive at the end of the round. Yep. Rounds 1 and 3, we had at least 3 players alive from CAG, and in the second one, I believe there was 4 as well. No flawlesses, but CAG have not really faced too much trouble. These early rounds have just been so strong that they can afford to drop a body or two and still feel comfortable closing out the round. With a perfect site rotation, certain things will unlock. They defended CEO first, and unless they want to go split, which they do not, they will now go back to the top floor bomb site. Chiefs tried to clear admin last time. They failed to clear admin last time. So what are you going to adjust now? Attacker repick could change things, but things are looking... There we go. I was about to say awfully similar to before, but Cairo will bring the Amaru. Now, they're going for something different.
Striker in. Frag grenades and EMP. Ying as well as Amaru. All signs point to a quick window play. That case is currently in Oda's hands. I really want to see what Chiefs opener is going to look like. How are they going to try and set themselves up for success? Is it going to be the admin clear again? Or are they going to try and flirt with something like yellow? Or maybe something like what we see over on the single balcony? Just have to try and see what will go on later on into this round. But as of right now, Chiefs doing their due diligence when it comes to clearing out admin, getting a good set of info in here and making their life a little bit easier. Although Shureep very close to being capable of swinging through and getting in the face of Chiefs as they try and enter this map.
Hopefully expected from the side of Chiefs at this point. I mean, we've had 3 rounds of CAG contesting every point of entry on a map where you don't really need to do that to succeed, and they've been doing it anyway and doing it successfully every single time. So I think Chiefs, aware of that, are playing a lot more further back, away from those repels, not even taking those fights, instead just doing the normal clears. Opening up the cubby wall, hard breach charged, used. We'll see where these Candelas land, but more importantly, see where this Amaru lands. I mentioned earlier that the CEO attack is so interesting because you can use all the same 5 operators, but just plug the pieces in different spots. As the Candela goes out, it seems like they're just baiting a bit of utility. Another smoke canister goes out, I believe, though it's not detonated just yet. Right? Actually, I don't know what that was. I thought I saw him throw something.
It was a proximity sensor. I heard the beep.
Oh, silly me.
Yeah.
They threw the prox alarm.
It happens. Don't worry.
Here we go.
Oh.
Goyo on the window. Diffuser gone. Oh, not diffuser gone. Well, the round is
gone.
Well, that's unfortunate. I felt bad in the moment. I was like, oh no, the Amaru's going in. Like, it's about to get really exciting. And Oda will find one moving into the cubby wall, but CAG still hold the entire site.
Yep.
They've got the full control. They can rotate the Clash around still. That's a nice shot on
it.
Black Ray. I'm starting to believe a little bit, Oda, especially as Quiz starts hitting
Stop
this backstab. Even though the Banshee's triggered, the Clash has got to pull out her gun. Oda cuts it down. Oh, happy feet. Gotta move, my friend. He's crouch walking away in a straight line. Chibisu now left like, guys, why'd you have to leave it up to me in the 1v1? Oda's got no Candelas. Chibisu misses the shots. All the damage dealt to the defender. We start putting this diffuser down. He falls off, but we know Chibisu's got no utility for this. He's just got to swing. He's got to take the fight. You're planting right in front of him, Oda. I get you're worried to cross, but it's such an easy shot to land, and that round almost slipped out of CAG's hands. But it really should have gone their way anyway.
Really should have. Really should have. And that's just kind of insult to injury for Chiefs. I mean, obviously, they've been just battered and bruised throughout this entire offensive half of themselves. But to fly so high but just burn up in the atmosphere, right? I think that's the biggest thing there. And just really not capable of pulling things across the line. And, like, I really hate to say it because I know it came down to a moment in a 1-versus-1 where, you know, Chiefs overall were not supposed to win that round. But Oda, man, Oda, you already tagged the player. You know you tagged him up a couple of times. And, yeah, it's an SAS operator. They more than likely have that M590 that they can kind of use. But you have the T95, man. You can just soak down any angle that you choose. And instead, he flirts a little bit too much with the case. In fact, I think that he was just like, I'm going to just try and stick this and hope I can get the plant down. Yeah. And that was just not the play there, Carter. Sadly, it was not.
Yeah, and when you're in a 1v1, you know, it's going to be difficult to kind of like keep your head straight in moments like that. And it very, very well could have worked out if he. I don't think he was going to stick it in any world. I think the plan was probably like, okay, I'll try to bait it, and once I hear the sound, I'll fall off and shoot him because I can retake the angle really quick once I do that. But when you're in a 1v1 like that, it's really hard to see at times what the right move is. And in this moment, could have been Chiefs' first attack, but after the tactical timeout, it is 4-0 for CAG. And that was still a 2v4 that Chiefs had to win. They needed Oda to get those 2 kills, needed Quiz to hit that backstab, and, well, frankly, needed Anderton to walk in a straight line, exposing his feet the entire time.
That was craziness.
There just needs to be so much more improvement on this attacking side for them to stand a chance on their map pick at this point. I mean, they might have good consulate defenses, but we're kind of trending towards a 6-0 at this point with how dominant these rounds have been. Even still, 4 rounds left post-execute on CAG's side. Shuri pushing in will get flash, but Shiraneko running out of the Visa double, I think. Just shoots Jigsaw in the head. Quiz running in for the 1v1. I mean, the droning, the comms, the coordination, it just is not there. 5 rounds in a row. CAG of the opening pick.
Yeah, and, you know, it just goes back to what we were talking about previously, Carter. You're setting up for an admin offense, but you have nothing to try and stop CAG from going for some more of these aggressive antics. There's nothing on the main door downstairs. There's nothing to stop that player from existing inside of admin, and they get away with 2 big kills.
And what's funny is Quiz had a drone in front of him, but he was literally, like, walking on top of that drone. It like, when he died, it had just almost reached the door between printer and admin. There just wasn't enough time to even find that information, and unfortunately, didn't end up mattering. Oda, again, good in these late rounds so far. Very low HP, but we'll be able to find one, but Shiraneko, to be fair, just ratting in a corner. Tex completely unaware of that, understandably, as Shiraneko just making a good move, realizing it's low time. They're not going to be able to clear these off positions. Odds are they're going to be a bit off balance. I can catch them off guard if I do something like that. It's what Jigsaw was doing really well yesterday on the defense, and in this case, they just do it here. Anaton hears the exothermic be proc. He's like, all right, that's a freebie, 1v4. Cairo with the boss G.
Practically flawless.
It's just Clubhouse all over again. Just the teams are different.
Yep.
5-0, and there's nothing. There is nothing going on. Everything the Chiefs are trying to do, they are droning, but they're following drones too closely. If they are droning at all, CAG are hitting the shots. Chiefs cannot fire back effectively. They try to go in for these executes. They Amaru in. They don't know a Goyo pack is on the CEO window, so they lose a lot of that HP to the fire and then lose the fight anyway.
Yep.
There is just nothing going right for Chiefs right now. The executions, the setup, the gunfights, the droning, the utility, everything is going wrong on their map pick. And it's literally like I'm watching CAG on Clubhouse. But the only saving grace CAG had was in 2 rounds, they won important gunfights. Aside from Oda and Quiz in round 4, Chiefs have not even been able to do that. CAG have been the ones hitting all of these shots. 1-5 Cairo, 1-5 Jigsaw, 2-5 Quiz, 0-5 Tex. Oda is the only one consistently performing, and this man is left in unwinnable situations most of the time. Just nothing is going right.
No, not at all. When your best round is a practically 2 versus 5 that you boil down to a 1 versus 1, something's going very wrong. And especially the fact that this is Chiefs map choice, you'd really hope to see some better offensive standpoints, but we just have not seen anything. I mean, the cliff notes of their offense so far is we cannot clear admin to save our lives.
No.
And really when it comes down to it, we just try and find these, these side entry points to the bomb site to try and make the most out of a situation that's already gotten murky. So for Chiefs, coming down to this last round, we're really hoping to see something that is positive. And really, at the end of the day, Carter, they desperately need this round. A 6-0 defensive half for CAG spells a demise for Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, CAG did not have a great offensive setup when it came to Clubhouse, but it's so very difficult to get a perfect side no matter what map we're talking about.
That's now 6 opening picks in a row.
Where is the droning?
We have not even droned yellow, and you're hopping down the skylight. The only reason you've won that fight is because shields are impossible to kill nowadays. You got your one. You got your freebie. There's Cairo with something. He's able to find Shironeko moving around yellow stairs. It is a middle floor defense. And now we actually have some semblance of control on the top floor. We still have Diffuser. And we've got a minute and a half to reset. It's not going to be easy, but look at this. They smell blood outside of B-Set. They smell Quiz going for this lurk, and from behind, Black Ray just takes his head clean off. Chiefs, for the briefest of moments, had maybe a path forward, and they take it away with that flank. Nice shot on the Boss G. Cairo will even it again, and now we move into the site. You can plan on this mirror window, and this is a very good spot for Cairo to cover, actually. And because they've all rotated over, he can spot the one for a very brief second.
Oh my
long
God.
haul, but switching angles, switching weapons. He's got to break the secondary. How do you win that? Lady Luck give you favor. Cairo takes down Shoe Reap. And we might just have an attacking win for Chiefs. As the Monty bullies, batters, and bruises the cap can against the Miro window. 6-0 denied, but you can tell Chiefs know that one round does not make a victory.
Man, that Dokkaebi had me sweating, Carter. just all the different inputs. I'm like, just stop touching buttons. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, my God. Thank God as well that Doke was running flashbangs, because if she was running anything else, she's dead. She's so dead to that Legion, it hurts. But instead, we get a successful Chiefs round off the back of just some utter craziness. I mean, that was a wild one there for round 6. But fortunately enough for Chiefs, and fortunately enough for their fans at home, Chiefs will be able to get that one-round buffer to keep CAG off of map point. It's sometimes all you need.
6 opening deaths.
I would like to remind you
one round
of what happened.
I see a way. I see a narrow way through.
You see a gap in the clouds, huh? You're flying high.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, you're good, brother.
Oh, I decided
You remember that?
I just, I was doing a bit instead of... Shout out to Oda. Oda's doing it.
Yeah, he is. He is. He is really doing it.
O-Dog!
Hey, dog.
Tex also got 2 kills that round. First 2 kills of the map for Tex right there.
I also just noticed that Chiefs have, like, they have Jigsaw and Quiz. Like, you're getting tested by, like, 2 completely different things.
Well, that's fun. I actually didn't think about that. That's really funny.
That's pretty funny. But
Yeah,
to bring it back to Barris to the point I was going to make earlier, this is the exact score line, I'm like 90% positive, as to what CAG had up against G2 on Consulate. And then things did not exactly go the way that you want them to.
No. It was Black Dragons who threw. They threw the 5-1 lead. Okay? A lot of teams can throw, okay? A lot of teams have the ability to bottle at this event. I know it can get confusing. We almost just saw it one series ago.
Oh, no, you're so right. G2 actually blew CAG out of the water on Consulate. It was 7-2.
I realized about halfway through, because I said it was Consulate at the beginning. I was like, oh, my God, wait, that was Bank.
Yeah, no, so that's on me. Apologies.
It's fine. Because you want to know why it's fine? CAG are up 5-1 on defense anyway. They started out strong. They very easily could have closed that out in a 6-0, and all Chiefs could manage to do was bring back a very difficult situation with everyone performing very, very poorly aside from Oda, who's still getting, I think, some impactless frags. How are they going to start bringing these rounds back with the defense? Jigsaw will play aggressive. It's a good position for him. He'll send the C4 out. It won't find anything, but at least he's going to give CAG some concern. It's also a minute and a half, and they're only just now rappelling into admin, so it is a very slow clear for the attack, and remember the Checkers hallway. Remember how difficult it can be. They've still got to cross it. They don't have a lot of time to do so.
You better pay your taxes. That's the thing. Do you have enough money for the crossing guard in Checkers? I don't know. I don't know, Carter. They do still have some burn in the likes of Anaton. No frag grenades for the likes of Shoe Reap, so it's really just going to be down to Cerneko and Anaton to try and deal with this positioning. Although they haven't lost bodies, they've lost a lot of time. A minute remains now. Some fires burn up, some bees in, as they'll know where this warden is positioned for now. They know no one's around that vending machine, and Checkers was just simply a pastime for CAG. They're playing chess now as they take down Quiz, and this round's been completely blown open.
Oh, no. One player close to the right. Jigsaw in a bit of a tricky spot with CAG players circling. Chibisu down below. Shiruneko, Black Ray, everybody fights back on CAG. C4 goes out, and we're even landing shots on the utility. There is just nothing that can go right for Chiefs this game as Anaton aims to move us into the post. Tex gets one in a 1v5. It might as well be a flawless map point for CAG. And if you picked a map today, well, should have picked a different one.
Yep. That's the best way to put that. Nobody playing up to snuff. Just really finding their own caliber, any comfortability on any of their own maps. It's honestly just opposite day when it comes to our elimination matches here today. But CAG making the most of this as, yeah, things pretty scary when it came to the end of Clubhouse. But as soon as it switched on over to Consulate, they have looked like a completely different team, especially with how fitting those defenses were. I mean, just time and time again at the necks of the Chiefs. And they were not capable of doing much at all. This is not looking like the NFL Chiefs in the slightest, as they have a flawless record. This Chiefs, well,
do not understand that reference.
Not a football boy. It's very, very poor. Basically,
you know, I heard Mahomes ain't Mahomes this year.
He's not, but the rest of the team is performing great. They actually haven't lost a game yet, and it's week 10.
See, my cousins and I have a joke that if you don't know football, but if you're talking to a guy who knows football, just say Mahomes ain't Mahomes this year, and odds are they'll respond to you very genuinely, like you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, you actually got it. He's actually not Mahomes this year. He's underperforming by quite a bit, but the rest of the team's fantastic. And then they made a trade for DeAndre Hopkins to the Titans, who's in the exact same division as them. So that's essentially making deals with Nazi Germany. That's how you can look at that. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, man. The Chiefs, just to put this into proper context for you, the Chiefs are about to potentially win 3 Super Bowls in a row. So you're literally dealing with the enemy. It's the worst thing possible.
Listen, all I'm saying, we're down 1-6. Chiefs, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because
well, that's a good pickup. Start things off with taking out Shoe Reap, which, I mean, he's been probably the biggest highlight player for me on CAG so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Shoe Reap has obviously been fantastic this series, though a lot of it, to be fair, was on the defensive side. And now, I mean, we got an opening pick. It's the first time we've actually had one this whole series for Chiefs. Actually have a 5v4. I love that. It's fine. It's Rima Dash. It happens. 5v4, likely a 5v3 right now as he just sees the edge of Chibisu. 1 kill going into this round. Your star player, to be for everybody, but your star player underperforming. Now Jigsaw finally starting to find his groove, find a rhythm on these defenses. Black Ray moving to fill that gap. Now left by the Brava, but again, it's another 1v1 that he's taking by himself with players around the corner, but they too realize that it is a disadvantaged position. They might find one, but Chiefs have wasted time. 1.5 minutes gone. They are pulling back, and they might find an angle in this Mav hole, but you've still not opened the breach.
A little bit of damage done to Anaton, but practically barely anything at the end of the day. He's Swiss cheese to this entire wall, so has a lot of different holes to try and work with and angles to try and pick up yet another kill here as CAG is constantly trying to find a different way into this bomb site. We can see Black Ray working his way in through servers and past Anaton that we obviously know is on this other breach. It's all down to Cerneko, who we do actually still have over on that other farther side alongside his teammate. So we'll see what we can do with the dying moments of this round, as there's still a world where they're able to get a nice little entry kill here and open up this bomb site.
Ooh. That shot will reveal his position just a little bit, but Anaton is still the one that finds the kill. Quiz shut down, and the Goyo canister popped on that side. Tex prone. And a little bit of a crossfire, I suppose. It's a bit unorthodox between him and Jigsaw. But CAG have spent so much time just to try and get that pick, and now it needs to pay off. Now as they push into the building, they need to get these kills. He lands the cross. He pushes so far, but the pre-fire, it's too short. But the gunfights all go their way. and the aggregate CAG retain their man advantage. And Tex, the veteran, finds one, able to tag him up, fires almost all of his shots, but able to down one, run like hell, make it as far as you can! But on the prone, CAG wins 7-1 on their opponent's pick.
Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a game.
We're going to Lair again. It's happening. And what's the breakdown of that map? What's the crazy thing that we're going to say for color commentary?
I think that right there, actually. Just look at the spirits.
Yeah, look at their spirits. Look at how Anaton finished that round. I think that just is all-encompassing as to how this game went. Chiefs thought that they could compete, but some solid gunfights out of CAG and a great understanding of how Consulate ticks gifts them a 7-1 victory here. As it split 1-1, only one map separates us from sending somebody home.
And in a weird way, it's kind of similar to that Falcons Alpha Team game that Rob and I casted, where it is almost inexplicable, this just sudden shift in momentum. Not completely inexplicable, but we have Clubhouse, where very easily could have been a 7-0. Could have easily been a 7-0 if CAG were just missing some very important shots, but they lose 7-2, they get a couple rounds, Chiefs are able to move on. But then, suddenly we go to their map pick. Suddenly I'm thinking, oh my god, Chiefs 7-2, go on to their pick. They'll get maybe 1 round, 2 rounds on the attacking side, but then we'll see those defenses, and that's where things will really come together. And to be fair, I think you can agree. They gave CAG a run for their money.
Yeah.
They certainly did. But to see just such a dramatic fall-off, I mean, look at those stats. Only one player had an impact in at least half the rounds played.
Yep.
Oda had an impact in 4 rounds. When we said it felt like nothing was going on, it really was true. And it's hard to explain drop-offs like that in one map, going to your pick. It's so weird.
Yeah. I really think it just goes to show how difficult Consulate can be from the offensive perspective. And I really think that Chiefs just had so much pressure on themselves going into that defensive half, and the fact that they really only had 1 round that could go awry before things obviously became a really big deal for CAG to be able to take this map away from you. So I think a lot of that anxiety just really did not assist them in that regard, especially with the fact that CAG time and time again on their defenses, Carter, were more than capable of getting these entry kills, and it's just so hard to fight from a moment like that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And like the thing I really got to commend CAG for is just that, of course, you know, the bounce back in performance and result, getting 7-1 on that second map, but really just the bounce back in vibes, in the emotion. I mean, getting 7-2'd on your pick, elimination match to start out after you've had a really good tournament so far. It sucks. It feels like the world is against you. But to see them swinging right out the gate, winning these fights, being confident enough to take them in the first place, it's really impressive. And you got to give CAG that on that second map, the fact that they're able to come back in a way like that. But the game is not done yet. CAG did still need to come back on map 2 in the series overall to even put us on Lair. But now with the momentum behind their back, we're looking to Chiefs on Lair to pull things through. We'll see you then. let's be honest again. I was like, CAG didn't really have it on map 1. Let's be honest again. It's been an odd game. It has been a bit of an odd elimination game. To bring everybody up to speed, CAG pick Clubhouse. CAG then lose Clubhouse 2-7. Could have been a 7-0. Chiefs pick Consulate. Chiefs then lose Consulate 7-1. Could have been a 7-0.
Are we going to have a competitive map?
Well, I mean, by definition, we're going to map 3. Oh, you said map. I don't know. That's a really good question, to be honest with you. I mean, because, like, it's technically a competitive match.
Oh, my God,
We're
Carter.
going to the 3rd map. But when we're looking at the trend of this series overall, just, I mean, take a look right here. It might seem normal at first glance, right? Quiz obviously at 44% cost, not looking great, and I think CAG heavily benefiting from a really strong team performance on map 2. But we had a team, Chiefs, pick a map, and only one player got a 50% cost. I mean, that's like DEFCON 1. Like, we're getting worried about what map 3 could look like.
Absolute asinine, honestly. It's just one of those things that, especially leaning into a map that was your choice, you would never expect in a million years. But that's exactly what we got. And now we rest at the precipice of Lair and what that has to offer to us. And honestly, folks, I wish either one of us had an idea, but that's the thing. We really don't, because of what we just saw. We just saw 2 maps go back-to-back on both of these teams' respective choices, and they went completely awry. Not the way that things were game planned at all. A 7-2 victory for Chiefs on CAG's map choice, a 7-1 victory on Chiefs' choice by CAG. Now we come into Lair, a map that is predominantly defender-sided. Offense has a lot of issues with things, and both of these teams have had their own issues on offense for these 2, last respective maps. So really, it is anybody's ball game here as we go into Lair.
But hopefully, we've all got the jitters out. Hopefully, even though losing our picks might seem weird, hopefully we have ironed out all the kinks, and on map 3, we will see both teams at a competitive form. Because if we're sending one of the, even though he might have come from the LCQ, but one of the legends of Japan up against the only champion of the OS region, this is a matchup worthy of a competitive series. And while we might be on map 3, we want to see that competitive map that you mentioned at the beginning. Let's see if Lair will be that case. Ban phase begins. It's always funny when CAG are the ones that ban the shield. It's like, even you understand that it's worthy of a ban.
Yeah, 100%. Especially Monty, especially on maps like Lair. He's just that consistent pressure that can constantly be gaining you map control, and he doesn't really, at the end of the day, have to expose himself all that much. In fact, you have to bring a whole swath of utility to try and deal with him, especially if he's trying to play in that more, safe way. So we'll have to see what goes on with that, but as for the remaining band, it's going to be pretty cut and dry as what we usually see. Mirror removed, Azami as well, so these defenders won't have nearly as many fun tools to try and build up defensive bastions around the map. So we'll have to see how that goes. And as we get into round 1, Carter, if there's one thing that I can guarantee you is more than likely going to happen, just one. Not to take things away from Fresh and one of his favorite phrases, but I have a feeling that this map is going to be a bit honking at the end of the day.
It is. There's been NASA had their top scientists examine the first 2 maps, and they found decent to superfluous levels of honk in both maps 1 and maps 2. So hopefully on Lair we can chill out a little bit, can all hang out.
I doubt it.
And maybe, just maybe, if the stars align and the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, which it does. In hindsight, I think I should have said sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Either way, I think if we really put our minds to it, we can all get above 50% cost.
Let's do it together, guys.
Well, I mean, you and I can't because we're not playing, but I think...
Yeah, so therefore we're at 100% cost.
That's technically correct. I think overall, as we start on the R6 room defense, obviously you're in a zombie ban, but as you can see with the lineup they're bringing, it's just dealing with the fact that CAG are going to play shields, Girish Mods, goo mines. They're ready for it. They've got the breach now as well. Pretty simple setup for the Lair defense. I'm more intrigued if CAG are going to struggle on this attacking side. Are they going to be able to start off with a victory? But really, I think I said this, but I want to reiterate it. I want to see Chiefs bring back the energy. Think about that first round that CAG won after that demoralizing loss on Clubhouse. But they got that first round, and it could have been the only one they got. But the fact that they came out with the energy to bring the vibes back, if Chiefs win a round early on, I want to see them bring that same energy to get their heads back in the game.
You've got it. You have to. When it comes down to games like this, things get very difficult, especially mentally, Carter. And that's the one thing. That's the one thing you can't teach, right? You can be amazing at a video game. You can be so mechanically gifted, but can you handle the pressure of a situation like this?
Oh.
And that's the big thing. A huge nitro cell onto Anakin. He will stay alive, but they don't have the Finka to try and bring health back to his resources. So he's going to remain on that 16 HP for the foreseeable future.
That C4 came awfully close to just dealing away with the Blitz entirely. So frankly, he might feel very lucky getting away with 16 HP there. How close that C4 came to you. We'll have to back off and rotate, though, as gunfire being shot over towards Shureep, who probably thought he was a little more secure in this position, a little less known. Might just be. Nice. Of course, you can see the exterior breach not opened up, so fully safe to Bandit trick the wall on the opposite side, facing towards Ops. Even the vertical angle as well to try to fight that Damos. That is where the gunfire is coming from. I was like, how is he shooting him rocket? But that's how.
There you go. First kill will go to the way of the offense as Shureep will take down Jigsaw, but a lot of damage going his way, and for all intents and purposes, pretty even keeled in between these two, especially after Quiz gets a big frag here and can more than likely make a mockery of this mid-floor play that CAG have going on right now. They're trying to work their way in through Ops, trying to get one of these walls open to create a safe space to put this case down, but well, our Bandit of Tex is doing a very bang-up job of making that a moot point, as CAG does not have any utility to try and keep him away from doing this.
No. Even though they got the opening pick on a Jigsaw, it could be a 4v5, and frankly, you know, seeing if the Deimos didn't have an impact, I'd say C4s, Goo Mines are feeling good, but CAG are able to retake that advantage, and the Blitz still looms. Even though he's such low HP, he's able to get in, and they're not expecting it. Could be a lot of problems for Chiefs. Incoming, sends forth, uses the blinds, but such low HP,
Wow.
Oda's able to get that and fall off at the same time. Tex takes down Black Ray, and Chiefs on the cusp of getting around when it has been so long since they've been able to acquire one. Pistol around the corner, Goo Mine does him in. What are the vibes like? A little bit more stoic. I heard a brief yell, but I see some smiles. I see a bit of relief as Chiefs get their first.
Yeah, working towards it. Just trying to keep themselves even-keeled right now, and especially after such a beating as to what they took, you know, they're on Consulate. It'll more than likely take them a little bit to get back into, you know, a proper mindset to be that cheerful when it comes down to things. Really, this is more of a, oh, thank God moment as you get that first round to go off with practically, you know, without a hitch. So as for Chiefs, though, a lot still to be said on this defensive half. I think CAG had a decent, you know, set of circumstances to try and push themselves forward there. I just didn't really like the op choice overall there, Carter. We did not really bring a lot of things to try and deal with Bandit potentially tricking things out. And you know what's going to happen as well, because you look at these map ban choices, and life could have been even more difficult for CAG. We have Tuber out available. Chiefs haven't even used that yet. And if we end up getting back to that bomb site, we'll more than likely see him. We could also see him on the mid-floor bomb site as well, as we do know that wall ends up coming out from, you know, one of these walls over here on the bunk side of things. So we'll have to see what Cheese really wants to bring to the table, but it can make life so much more difficult for CAG when it comes to this utility. Oh, sorry, bud.
That's fine.
Just dirtied your knee there. I'll dust it off
You
for
have
you.
hit my knee twice today. I do just want to make
You just got good knees, man.
At
I
two
can't keep
different
myself
levels
away.
as well. I had my knees on my chair and now below the chair, and you've hit it both times. I mean, I am angled a little bit to the right, so I'll cut you some slack on that one. But
You are in my bubble now that you bring it up.
Nah, all right, my bad. You are correct that there are a lot of operators that Chiefs can bring that can really throw a wrench into CAG's plans, no matter if they're running the shields or not. Just given how tight corridors Lair has, similar to Consulate in that regard, operators like Fenrir become a lot more powerful. The F0 can encompass a very, very wide area in these very, very small doorways. Jigsaw also has a lot of room to just slip away and sink into the background of a map as he moves around, cloaks himself with the ERC from the drones, and with the cover, with the architecture, to shield himself from view from the rest of the attack overall. CAG seem to be going for a full clear, and that's often a risky gamble on Lair. It is a big map. It is a dense map, especially as you're attacking the basement site. And with Chiefs holding the middle floor, a lot of time could be spent getting a whole lot of nothing.
Yep. That's the thing you always have to worry about on Lair. It's not if they're going to extend, it's how, right? Where are these players going to be positioned? How are they going to try and soak up some clock? That's why, arguably, this is one of Vigil's best maps, just due to the size and just how beneficial that ERC-7 backpack can be. You can practically appear as though you're on multiple floors all at one time as long as that thing's on. Shoe Reap will be the first one to kill somebody, and it's actually going to be Jigsaw. But at a bare minimum, at least he did waste quite a bit of time, already down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. And don't forget, CAG is attacking that basement level.
With how much time we've spent, the fact that you're able to get a 5v4, you can feel a little bit more secure. Despite the low time, still players moving around, though. Tex, I feel like, has been here the entire round, and he's not felt even a semblance of pressure, or at least that he needs to move at all. Quiz is a bit more fluid, looking to retake all this verticality now abandoned by CAG and try to backstab them later in the round. Somebody will fire some shots, and none fired in response. So while CAG have the man advantage, I think with this side, a 4v5 can be very workable, as long as the remaining defenders are cognizant of where they can be pushed from. Shurip on run side, trying to push in. Quiz shut down on the roam. That was the player we saw flanking earlier. Anaton is ready to deal with it. But only 30 seconds remain. You need to start pushing in. You need to start applying a bit more pressure and get Chiefs in a position to start putting the diffuser down. He's traded, but diffuser falls, and yet Chiefs are falling harder. They're falling faster. CAG speed into round 2. Tie the game early on. They're excited over that victory.
Yeah, just a lot happier, a lot more emotion out of CAG than what we see from the Chiefs bench. And, I mean, why not, especially after that round and how successful it was. Chiefs had a lot of things going on that mid-floor, a lot of extensions. We had 3 players overall kind of all harbored inside of that mid-level. And CAG was able to check all of the boxes across the board, whilst also transitioning into that downstairs bomb site. Didn't even need the case plant. Instead, it's a very patient look, as they know that Chiefs are going to have to try and kick up a dust storm to get out of this situation. And as soon as Chiefs tries to dawn the door of the offense, every single angle works its favor over towards the blue side of things, and they end up getting those big frags to close things out. And I think that's been the biggest piece for me for CAG's offenses so far. They don't try and go over the top with a lot of the different things that we see. They don't try and force these plants down or really anything of the sort. They take what's given to them, and that's really where it all stops. If you're going to try and frag out up against CAG in those dying moments, they're going to wait patiently for those gunfights. If you're going to give them a little bit of space to be able to put a case down, they'll do that too. And so far, it's boded decently well for them, all except for, obviously, Clubhouse.
Why did something go wrong on Clubhouse that I missed?
Yeah. Something slightly.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it was just, it was not a great look.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever lost that map, hope they did some introspection and came back harder on the second map. It is a lot easier to kind of, by the way, in case people are wondering, what, you know, CAG are in high spirits, Chiefs failing to do so. It's a lot easier to forget a map loss when it happened first and you won the second. It kind of feels like you're 1-0 in the series, even though you are 1-1. You just had that victory. It was a 7-1. The feel-good moment is a lot more recent than it was for Chiefs to start this series. So like you said earlier, you might need a little bit more energy to get back into it. Breach will be opened. Electroclaw tricking an exothermic is very, very difficult. Often have to anticipate the timing on the charge before you can actually really bet on landing it. Even then, could come down to a frame. It's very, very difficult, so CAG will be able to open the wall. When you have the OSA and that breach open, usually it indicates a direct take, and if that wasn't evident, it's enough. When OSA has the diffuser on this site, she is looking to plant on the opposite side. You see that doorway he was looking at right there? That is angling towards that drone. That is where they're going to try to put this diffuser down. Creeps in, and Shurip will already just get started. Everyone is focused. Chiefs are looking not the right way, as Shurip will back out. Cairo put to 1 HP as one of the talent shields is destroyed. They will have to take it up, put it in the site as Jigsaw retaking Rocket will cut down Black Ray. Feeling a bit more comfortable if you're Chiefs.
We're worrisome there initially, but nobody capable of holding that cross in a considerable way in order for this plant to go down at a Shoe Reap. We'll more than likely see him move this ballistic shield as well, as Tex will be able to take out yet another. They are desperately looking for this plant now, and they have to get aggressive. But Chibisu, he's good for one, not good for another, as Cairo will take him down.
Just the prep, the angles, it's all too strong for the Chiefs. They saw last round that CAG tried to be very minimal with that take, and this go around. The moment they see that OSA shield go down, the call comes out. The Warden sends the C4 initially. It was sent a bit early that time, but the Cade was literally prone beneath a pre-made a Rooney hole in the wall and already didn't have the C4 in hand, but had the lineup for it to throw it and land in about the exact same spot or out of the breach in the case that we saw. And even though the C4 didn't get anything, CAG didn't rotate, and Chiefs are like, all right, if you want to rotate, we'll react, but if you're not going to, we know where you're pushing from. There's only two places you can come. You can either come from the breach or the door that's right next to it. So we've got a DMR, a TCSG, SMGs trained on you, and once Jigsaw clears the rocket side, what CAG were probably hoping to cause chaos, to backstab and throw the site into disarray, well, Jigsaw can hold there and say, hey, guys, you're fine. Just hold what's in front of you, and I'll call if things change.
Yep. That's really all they had to do. I mean, you saw Chiefs standing pretty tall there inside of the bomb site, and that's because of how minimal CAG's control was overall. They're trying to get things to go off with that control over towards the breach as well as the door that Carter was talking about, and then just having simply like a pseudo backstab set up over on the missile stairs, right? Just try and keep control of that lobby space and maybe cut down a Chiefs member if they're trying to rotate back. But instead, the jig was completely up. They knew exactly what was going on in that space. Ended up, stop it, don't do it.
Jigsaw.
Oh, man. I knew as soon as I said it.
He got the opening pick.
I knew it. I knew as soon as I said it.
I'm very pleased with myself after that one. Very even performance for Chiefs throughout all these rounds, by the way. But yeah, you are correct. The jig was up. Not much you can do at that point, especially when you're committing so hard to that direct execute. Bit of a change in the CAG lineup. We got all execute ops now. No shield, but Ying and the Grim, the classic combo at this point.
The jig was up. They saw the quiz, and they didn't pass. There you go.
Did Quiz even get a kill that round?
No, I don't think he did.
I mean, he might have.
I literally just used his name as, yeah.
Well, mine was better.
It was. It was. I'll give you that.
On our 6 room last time, we brought up the inability, really, for CAG to try and navigate past techs on that hard breach denial, specifically the Bandit last time. This go around, the Cade might be a little bit easier, but all we've got are the impact EMPs, no Thatcher. So if you're actually able to get to and execute, we have a lot of important utility, but still the threat of opening these walls with the Cade and the Tubarao brought by Chiefs is very, very real. Look at Jigsaw contesting this with the MPX, a position he would love to play, and doing so right now puts the ace to about half HP, and now they're like, oh, they're pushing ops. Let's get ready to stop them from breaching this wall for the rest of the round.
Wow. Oh, shoo. That's the one thing you have to worry about when it comes to verticality, folks. You want to be a good Buck player? Have that recognition. Realize that when you start to break open those floorboards, if somebody's up to snuff when it comes to a gunfight, they're probably going to want to influence that angle.
It's funny, because Shiri technically, I mean, maybe he didn't know about it, but that is where he was getting shot from in the previous round when he was Deimos down below. So maybe he just didn't recognize it or forgot about it later on, but we'll get punished for whatever lack of knowledge, whatever the cause was. Candelas and the Grims go out as CAG hit a heavy rotate to the opposite side. Chibizu jumps in. He's a bit delayed and just hops immediately back out once the goo mines enter his foot. Oda cuts down Shironeko, who I guess decided to commit to his play, his hop into bathroom. So you don't have those Bs, but I hope the Candelas can make up for the difference. Just one. That's it. Still got 2 more. See Chibisu creep into bathroom, but Jigsaw holding the angle, and the Flores just is not aware. It's very separate, very uncoordinated from CAG at the moment. Black Ray was able to find Oda. That's just from ops. The wall is still there. The site is still firmly Chiefs. They will consolidate around the same position, but the player around the corner has a shotgun. Player could very well win this fight. The TCSG to the left. See if he loses his sight. Smoke grenade will block off certain angles as well, but we are taking our sweet time to throw these 2 Candelas. Finally, we move in, and Tex just played. Not even anti-flash. He still killed him through the blind. That's really unfortunate, actually. Chiefs win the round as a result. And, well, they are bouncing back quite nicely from just an absent performance on Consulate.
Yeah, 100%. It seems like whatever team starts things off on defense is the one that is the most potent, at least so far, right? And, I mean, given the circumstances of the map choices that we've had, that does make quite a bit of sense. But I don't think that either one of us thought it was going to be to this degree.
No, certainly I did not. And it's... I mean, for Chiefs, for me, it kind of makes sense with some of the warning signs I saw on the attack yesterday. Then I thought, oh, I mean, Clubhouse is far easier to attack than Consulate, but maybe it's a different story now, and really it just was not the case, unfortunately, despite it being their pick, and despite you can readily anticipate that you will be starting the attacking side given the map you are picking. As CAG takes their tactical timeout as they try to assess what they are doing wrong or what they need to fix. You want to get one more round, at a minimum. 1-5, sure, maybe it's possible, but a 1-5, kind of like an 0-6, it is good no matter what. It is always going to put the team that is up at an advantageous position and just win 2 fluke rounds at worst and close out the series in regulation. CAG have tried a few different things. They've tried opening breaches, focusing on that. Didn't really work. They weren't able to work around the Bandit. They tried going for full execute ops with the Ying and the Grim we saw right there. But with losing the buck down below, they try to go for a full rotate, and it seems like people are just operating on different pages, hopping into goo mines. Then you got to back out, actually, because, well, I don't want to die to the goo mine, but then people still commit. So even though they've tried all these different strategies, they've tried some shields, they've tried some execute ops, they've just tried going for the normal breach and plant, and it did work one time, that small direct take, but every other time they've tried these different strategies from directs to clears to rushes, it has just not worked. So how will they try to break from that game of musical chairs and actually manage to make something stick?
Do you have the mute in here for Tex, and that could provide a couple of issues here for Sereneko. That's a big thing. It seems like they're going to lean into the utility game here a bit and also bring some solid, utility to try and clear things out, at least for bodily position. Things like the blitz, things like the Dokkaebi to give you that info. We'll see how that works out for CAG. We've seen time and time again these adjustments across all of these maps for the offensive perspective, and it seems like nobody really has had a solid circumstance to provide. We'll see if CAG can be that outlier and finally find some semblance of success. It would be a huge moment here for them if they were able to do so, as that means that they could stare down the barrel of an even half here on offense, but it's going to require a bit of heavy lifting on their end.
Likely the way it might unfairly fall on Anaton's shoulders. Just whenever you bring that shield, it kind of bends the round around it. Utility, drones, communication, all kind of goes into how can we best set up that shield, or how can we best make it work for us. So Anaton will receive a lot of focus, very capable hands for that shield to fall into, let's be honest, but still, you want to get that player in a position. You don't want to let it be squandered, especially with how strong he performs in this roster, shield or no shield. Want to make sure he has an ability to find an impact. Down below right now, Dokkaebi call will go out. Not all of them, just the first. I don't know you'll find a whole lot from it. Smoke down, instead rotates up yellow stairs, maybe to try to affect some kind of change on this roam, but Tex falls back. It's just Jigsaw and Quiz on the Vigil now, playing very, very close together.
And this aggressive play set up here from the Solus and the Vigil. Jigsaw and Quiz looking to see if they can potentially get a positive rotation up against this team, but they're really around the space. They don't really have to worry too much about that stairwell. They'll be able to make good on their promise with that roam to lay out a lot of time and make it back to the bomb site in a successful manner. No EDDs on the defense. That was a nitro cell that was thrown up to the roof that ends up taking down Chibisu. Now CAG, with very minimal time, are trying to pull the wool over Chief's eyes on this basement setup. This is not looking positive as of right now.
No, it's not, unfortunately. Thankfully, I guess the one saving grace we have is the main sort of time wasting, and there's just a guy there. All right, that's unfortunate.
That's the second time that's happened to our buck on offense.
Black Ray's able to trade it back, cut down Odin. I was about to say, there isn't a lot of actual utility on the site to really stop this case from going down. You've got the C4, that's been used. You got the smokes, those have all been used. Sure, you're low time, but as long as you're able to work around these gunfights, you might be okay. Vigil blinded, a two-piece for Anaton, setting him up for success nicely in the late round. They're still low time, and they find Cairo nonetheless. A 3K for Anaton, a 3K for the Blitz. 2 rounds on the attack to make a little bit more progress.
Yeah, and for Chiefs, I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better round from a defensive standpoint in order to try and make the most out of it in the dying moments, right? They deny a lot of time. They force CAG down to pseudo-low time execute. I mean, it's about 40 seconds as they continue to push themselves forward. The biggest issue is that Chiefs cannot win out a proper fight in any, considerable way. A lot of these skirmishes go the way of CAG, and obviously the biggest one being Anderson with that 2K. Even if that secondary player ends up killing the Blitz, That's a completely different story for the Chiefs, but instead, Kegs blow the doors off of Chiefs as they fly by in that round, and now reach round 6 with the chance to tie things up here at the half.
With the chance, but no, I'm not going to do it. I start getting distracted by the attacker repick, and I start wanting to talk about that, and they always change the core up I want to focus on at the end. So I'm going to wait.
Gotta wait 7 seconds, 30 seconds,
I'm
right?
going to be patient. Wait and
2,
see
1,
if they stick
block.
the OSA. So this is what I was going to say. So, yeah, obviously, you know, they might be able to try something here, could change things up, but Chiefs were more than capable of countering that direct take last time. Which, bring in the blitz here, I am hoping that what they'll do, instead of just having one guy lurking backside, you can still try to do that same execute, but a shield might just be better equipped to actually cause that chaos you want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree with you there. I think the other thing that you can definitely say about Osa, especially when it comes to this bomb site, she does make planting a lot easier, and she definitely makes you know, Overwatch when it comes to you know, not only the bomb site but your planter a heck of a lot easier too, because you have that shield to play off of.
Huh. Well, hold on a second.
And you look pretty quizzical right now. What's going on?
I do. You can obviously go pick it up, but the diffuser was actually with the opposite squad. It was in the Blitz's hands.
Might be a distraction method here with the Osa. They think you're going to go for the plant. They fly the blitz in, get some big kills, get this plant down, but
What's up, big dog? Oh my god, he wants this so bad. Oh, the Blitz wants it so bad. They are fiending for this Aruni running around the middle floor. Will spot one, though loses half his HP in the process, and Tex is probably thanking God that smoke canister, I guess thanking Cairo in the end that smoke canister landed. Still the Aruni goes down, and Jigsaw shot in the back, trying to sprint away from Doom. The only damage dealt to CAG in that entire time is near lethal damage to Chibisu. With 2 players down on Chiefs, 1 to very low HP. Might seem small as well, but 1 toxic canister expended. I don't know, CAG really meant to get all that much in the first half of the round, but boy, are they happy. They did.
Yeah, I think that they knew that a target was there. I just don't think that they knew it was a target-rich environment, right? I mean, they walk down a staircase, they get a kill, and oh no, Anaton. He gets soaked up by the players still being downstairs, but this is also a call to CAG, as they know that Quiz is more than likely still rummaging around down low. Chiefs do have some, you know, defensive standpoint still, but with a minute remaining, this is honestly anybody's ball game. They have the case. Oh my God, they have the case on the staircase.
I just kind of assumed they would recover it, but we've just had a full rotation.
This is terrible.
Oda and Quiz here. Quiz peeking outside the window. There's 2 right out there. Might have only spotted 1, but certainly knows that they're focusing on him from that position. He'll put himself in the beast. Doesn't really matter. Oh, but the mistimed prone. The C4 sent. Trying to fire shots into the OSA. He commits to the gunplay, but there was no right answer in that situation. A bit of a weird round, we can all agree, but CAG come away better for it, because they've just tied the game.
Wow. The most competitive map that we've had so far is Lair, as CAG figures out their offenses. Makes life a lot easier for them when it comes to this defensive side. And Carter, they're, you know, I don't want to say they've done it just yet, but
Sam,
depending on how these defenses start off, man,
Sam,
this could be it.
I saw maps 1 and 2. It is not done.
This looks so different from maps 1 and 2.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I know what done maps look like. I watched map 1 and 2. I know when the map is done before it's done. I have a rehost, unfortunately. Sheer and Echo calling it. Not sure what happened.
He said rehost, and then he said why.
Oh.
I think he was also the same one that said why.
Oh.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Sorry, I came halfway through the conversation. I see I talk sometimes, but I get really focused on the things like not actually. I don't focus on the screen. I'm just like, I'm making a point. I get real focused on like a speck on a cardboard box or something, or like a desk, or like a picture.
I don't call that hyperfixation.
I guess. Either way, not entirely sure the cause for the rehost, but you are correct. It is technically a closer game, and I don't think that just because that we have a 3-3 attacking half from CAG, that it's going to be over, because we've seen teams be able to attack decently well. Chiefs were able to attack decently well on Clubhouse at the 4-2 half. We kind of needed to see them attack well. We didn't really need to see CAG attack well all that much just because they had a 5-1 and how dominant that scoreline can be. And let's be honest, those attacks were kind of slow and needed, similar to Clubhouse, the individual plays to bail them out. So Obviously, in this case, CAG did go up on the attack, or did get a 3-3 on the attack, but let's see what Chiefs have to offer. To quote Jamie Foxx, well, let's see what the kid can do. That was Jamie Foxx quoting a movie that I don't know, so it really wasn't a Jamie Foxx quote. But
yeah, well, I can definitely agree with that. I think it's one of these things where we at least have to give it a little 2-round course in order to see what goes on. But, you know, honestly, that was back to what I was saying. You know, there is a realm where this, because of what CAG has been able to pull off here, if these defenses are as potent as they've been on these previous maps out of them, specifically Consulate, obviously, then, you know, it's kind of said and done as to what's going to happen to Chiefs and the overall result of this map. But obviously, that's why we play the maps out, folks. There's literally anything that could happen here, and it's really just down to preparation here for Cheese. Yeah, they didn't seem all that great on their defenses, but at a bare minimum, they were still able to muster 3 and make this a heck of a lot more playable at the end of the day in comparison to what we've been seeing throughout this entire best of 3 so far.
it's just a matter of circumstance that we faced that because you really, you know, Chiefs lost a lot of that momentum on Consulate, that the intangibles just kind of favor CAG in this situation because you just won a map. You had the momentum. A 3-3 is close, but you're keeping it close. You're still being competitive. Whereas for Chiefs, because of that loss, it's a lot more recent. It was your pick. You know what this match means. It's a bit of a glass-half-full situation. The competitiveness is more gnawing at you than it is exhilarating for CAG, especially starting the attacking side. Moving into the side swap, Chiefs are going to start feeling a lot more of that external, or really internal, but emotional pressure, external as it relates to what's happening in the server, what's happening in the game. So how they're able to work out some things I think we really need to see. Jigsaw being good on the entry. On Consulate, he was having very little impact on that attacking side. Very little impact overall, but very little impact on that attacking side. A lot of it was left up to Oda to make sense of the pieces, and really nobody could get anything going on that attacking side. That's the recent history we have to look at, and ultimately, if we're comparing Lair to any of the two maps we've seen, does it play more like Clubhouse, or does it play more like Consulate? It plays a lot more like the latter, and a lot of the same problems that Chiefs had getting into the building are likely going to affect them here.
A lot of interesting things going on this map, or rather inside of this series overall. A couple of 1vx's for these teams, actually one respectively to each side. But the biggest thing that is a huge showing as to how these offenses have been going for both of these respective teams, there's been one plant by each squad throughout all 3 of these maps, Carter.
Planting is overrated. Let's all be honest. It's overrated. Furia showed us you don't really need to do that. Not that they were just running around and killing people, but you don't need to plant. It's
a means to an end.
They saved us the time. Phase planted. What trophy do they have? Just kidding. I love Phase. See, I can actually make that joke because I'm a very, very public Phase shill when it comes to their chance at winning this event. I called it win Manchester. That was wrong. But I've called them to win this event again.
I think it's proper. I think that ever since that moment earlier on in 2024 in Sao Paulo, they've had a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They've been constantly trying to figure out a way for them to, get back to a grand final and actually try and take it this time.
Since Sao Paulo, I would argue since Atlanta, since both times you're like, we literally beat Furia in every match we play them, and we keep losing to these underdogs that just get smoked in the finals. We lose to Liquid. They lose 3-0 to W7M. We lose to Los.
Yep.
They lose 3-1. And then, of course, as you point, I think the chip was magnified when they finally beat Furia, and they literally were up 6-1 and then lost. But we don't have to rehash some of the more painful memories of my life in the past year. Let's instead look at what might be a painful map for both of these teams. 3-3 on Lair, especially if Chiefs are able to mount a good fight on the attacking side to make things very difficult for CAG, as it's a second-floor defense to start. CAG dropped off this Deimos very quickly from their attacking lineup, specifically when attacking this top floor, but Tex will give it a try this time. Specifically, I imagine, to focus on that Bandit and try to break through this oppressive Bandit 2-Brow combo.
Yeah. No mute jammers either, so those death marks are going to stick around, as Tex is already taking that fight through the flooring. No damage dealt to any party involved. Frag grenade out here, and it's going to be bounced off the wall. It will keep that Bandit away for now. Tubarao will throw down one of those ice canisters. Be able to make the most out of this situation for the defense. Should be trying to apply Bandit batteries decently soon, but it seems like they're more than likely just going to do their best to try and thwart the game plan as of now with these Zotos. Bandit battery will go down, and this is going to force our Deathmark man to try and get something going down here, but Deimos not too much. It's actually going to be Quiz that gets his first kill on the back entry as he'll take out the Bandit of Aniton.
Bandit of Aniton, Shiraneko down 2. They tried so many different solutions for this office wall problem, and just sending Quiz up the rocket hallway is what ends up working out. Nobody on the opposite side, or if there was, they were looking away at the wrong time. Chiefs, I certainly know who owns this top floor site at the moment. Black Ray might land that kill, but the diffuser's going on a world away. Fortunately, the Deimos body sticking a little bit on the opposite side of that frame, but that's fine. He wastes time, really, being a little bit too difficult to hit in that position. 1v3, Quiz might be on low HP just around the corner. That's a nice flick by Black Ray. And with that well reinforced, the only 1v1 he's got to worry about right now is actually the one outside of the breach. But he hops over, decides to try to play the long game, try to fight this Lion, and in the end, that might be the wrong call, because Jigsaw is just pulling further back into the site. They've got intel, but he needs to win this fight, and it just doesn't happen. Chiefs seem to be struggling for a very brief moment at breaking through the Bandit and the Tube route, but when all else fails, Quiz hits a flank, which I associate with him on this team now at this point, and it completely accomplishes everything they needed.
Yeah, that's really it. They had that huge distracting method downstairs with the Deimos as they're constantly flirting back and forth on both respective sides, trying to get something to go there. Either the Deimos dies or we end up, losing a couple bodies in this situation. But either way, we're trying to keep this wall locked up. We're trying to use all of our utility that we have at our disposal in order to do so. And Chiefs, they find an angle that all of a sudden becomes insurmountable for the defense. They're not even aware of this positioning over here on Terrace out of our Nook, and we end up seeing him get away with quite a bit there. That was a huge moment for Quiz as he was able to not pick up only 1 but 2 kills under the 2 players trying to hold down that wall. And from that moment on, it was very easy for Chiefs to try and pick up that round. Although a valiant effort from our lone soul out of CAG, but still a Chiefs round at the end of the day.
Still very much a Chiefs round indeed. And in hindsight, it seems pretty simple. Let's just play someone closer to Rocket Stairs next time. Or let's be aware of it, because it is a very direct route to solve the problem that Chiefs needed to fix. And so CAG, maybe somebody's supposed to play there, and they moved away for about 10 seconds. It's good problem solving, good realization from Chiefs, but at the same time for CAG, you're like, really that was the only way they had into that round. Maybe next time we'll try to put somebody there, but you will let an important defense slip away, and we'll see if Chiefs are able to make a trend out of so far just one small example. Not the second floor, I believe, instead all the way over on the first. That's actually so funny. Literally the last ranked game I played before I came here, I did the exact same thing. I accidentally vaulted over. I was like, oh, crap. I'll just run upstairs.
Yeah. One of those weird spots around Lair for sure. I think I've fallen into the exact same trench. Oh, wow.
Is there even a hole in that wall?
I don't know if there was a hole, but there's definitely a hole in Shoe Reap now.
I'm squinting.
Yeah, those 308 rounds, man, they're not kind to the body.
I don't think so. Either way, Jigsaw very happy he came away with that one. 3-0 after the rehost so far. Really only playing the Lion on this team, and 417's a good weapon to put in his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Boss G creeping around. Go back on drone. Got the Nook close by, moving on the opposite side. We do see somebody.
Oh, perfect.
The briefest of second at the end of that hallway. Shiraneko knows he's there, and he's in a really difficult spot. Deimos outside the window. Yeah, Quiz just walks up and shoot him.
That was so
just
well done.
Unaware he's on the drone. Yeah, very, very well done by Chiefs. I mean, these attacks are looking night and day difference from what we saw on Consulate. Even if the previous round was slow, solving these problems has been quick and decisive. Tex will be a little sloppy, get caught off guard by Black Ray, but CAG still a bit of ratting in them. It's still Chiefs with the advantage.
Holding on to this top floor, but being punished left, right, and center. Cairo able to take down Chibisu with that shoddy. Is going to be the Boss G here for him. We've been seeing a lot of people play with the Boss G, specifically on Vigil, as the DMR is usually pretty prominent on offense. But every once in a while, we see somebody don that mantle and make the most out of it, as that shotgun is extremely potent. Black Ray, he gets it too onto Quiz.
That's a retake of bottom green as well. That's important control reestablished by the defense, as the attackers rotated the opposite side to try and open these breaches, add a new angle to the process. Quiz is caught lacking by a very proactive CAG defense. that part of the map retaken. Sure, Chiefs still have the advantage, but Anton and BlackRay have linked back up. They can start communicating, but Kyra tries to find things, triggers the Banshee for a brief moment. Do they hear? Are they too focused? The sound cue didn't register. Another Boss G shot hits the floor. Anton downs himself instead, hits the prone and falls nonetheless. BlackRay will hear one hop through the breach, and Oda catches him off guard. CAG with a nice little aggression to make it competitive in the mid-game, but the beginning and the end, it is Chiefs for 5-3.
And so far, CAG just not really having an area that they've been able to exploit to the absolute fullest. There's no advantage that they've been able to garner throughout these last 2 rounds. It's been Chiefs all day, every day, and even inside of that last round, yeah, Chiefs are able to start things off very well. CAG able to fight back in a certain circumstance, but Chiefs still have so much value to be able to use, and let alone that fact, just that man count really coming to fruition for them, right? I mean, a huge play for them, able to get that wall open and also have that player kind of flank his way into the bomb site, completely catching CAG off guard. I mean, Mute had no idea as to where those shots were raining in from initially, ends up going down to the Boss G, and just the rest of Chiefs really showing up to do their due diligence to CAG as they're able to end up nipping that last player in the bud. Not even a plant attempt necessary, just a play out of Furia's book as they will kill you instead.
Sure, Chiefs would like that comparison.
I'm sure anybody would like that comparison, honestly.
Well,
maybe not right now, but overall, kind of speaks for itself as to how 2024 and 2023 and the late stages of 2022 went. Oh, man.
Early Uto.
Fabian and Pengu had to be a little worried there for a while, by the way, about that, about the whole Dynasty thing. I'd start sweating a bit.
I was holding out hope for Manchester, and then when I saw that didn't happen, I was like, all right, the legacy is safe.
Yep.
Nixon will be very content with himself. 45 seconds in, or 40 seconds in specifically, but splitting hairs with these extra 5 seconds with how little can happen in the early round sometime. We'll start probing into operations, but Dokeby and the Lion and the Deimos, so much intel you can gather, and there's no Mute actually on the board for CAG right now, just the Vigil who can evade those Deathmark trackers. Sitting very patiently, almost respect it. Dokeby call will go out too, but it's the Dokeby that goes down first. Chibisu's able to find him just roaming around that top floor. Might get the refrag onto the Mozzie, but I'd take Mozzie for Dokeby every day of the week. I'm more than happy with that. And Chibisu falling back afterwards, I think is just the right call. Who knows if you actually got the Dokeby, but 4v4 minute 15 seconds in, they're probably going to take at least 30 more seconds to fully drone you out and acquire control of that top floor. No point to press your luck. Fall back to the basement. They're going to take 8,000 years to move through that anyway. Yep,
your job's done. There's so many rooms on this map. As soon as you're able to show face and get a kill in that regard, you just pull it back to site and allow them to go through with that clear because of exactly what Carter's talking about. They still have to go through all of these motions and Jesus, Anakin, did you tape 2 of them together? Like, what the hell was that? He just nukes that man on the mid-floor, and now Jigsaw's down for the count, too. Uh-oh.
If I say, Shireen's been on the top floor the whole time. He was sitting just like un-ADS'd in Memorial the entire time, sitting there waiting, and now he's gone down. Damage tech's up quite heavily to 29 HP. And you don't need to push it any further. Just like Chibisu rotated back, you fire a lot of shots into that Deimos, but you've only got 1 minute and 5 seconds left. The threat, the thought of you is far more important than actually you hitting this flank. That doesn't mean he's not going to hit it anyway. Shireen, a clean little spray transfer to finish things off and to keep CAG in the game.
That is absolutely absurd. That was a picturesque round when it comes to how you want to play defense on Lair. If you can constantly be a thorn in the side of this offense as they clear throughout the map and get away with it, right? You sneak off to these different portions of the map, the top floor, flying up these stairwells, going over to green, jumping down, reinserting yourself into that, high priority area for the Chiefs. It just makes life a heck of a lot easier for you when you're able to pull off those antics. And that's what we see at a CAG here. They'll shore up the scoreline with their first successful defense off the back of a very vigilant Vigil on those top levels.
First successful defense, important phrase that you just said, as Chiefs have been able to win 2 attacks in a row, what is typically a decently defender-sided map. We'll see if this is the start of a greater trend for CAG as... Let's remember back to that first R6 room defense. This was probably a round that was trending CAG before Quiz found a gap on Rocket Stairs, was able to walk up as Nook and take down one of the hard breach now players that have been causing Chiefs so many problems up until that point. If CAG are just a bit more cautious about this area, likely place somebody there, Chiefs will have to run into the exact same problem. Except there's no Bandit 2 route this time, so they actually won't.
Yeah, and then I was also going to say there's really no utility that stands in the way of Nook trying to push up that stairwell either. You don't have barbed wire. You really don't have any traps to throw down in that area either. You do have some yokais to try and oversee things, but what's that thing that Nook does again? Oh, yeah, hide from cameras. That's the whole thing.
However, she cannot hide from a shotgun, and there are 2 of them. One of them could be playing close on the corner of Rocket, and that's effectively the same thing.
Hey, that is fair enough. And I'll shut up after that point. But no, I mean, still, at the end of the day, if there is a gap to exploit, Nook does have the opportunity to, given the circumstances, as long as somebody isn't strictly overseeing that space with an M590. Oh, Shoe Reap. That's rough.
That was actually a really funny sequence of events. Tex was like, I think I can overshoot the Mozzie Pest. Could not overshoot the Mozzie Pest. Oh my god, there's a Vigil. Just a funny sequence of events. Get a 5v4 off the back of it. And a Mozzie Pest disabled. Really high impact early game from Tex right there. Spotted off Shiraneko as well, who is playing that Rocket side. She gets a little too aggressive. Jigsaw is just like, I feel like somebody's going to peek me. He prones. He's ready for it. 5-3 now in R6 room. No gap even necessary. CAG try to rotate and play more aggressively, and Chiefs completely punish them for it.
Yeah, a moment like that can become pretty anxiety-ridden when you do have that death mark tracker on you, and you might try and make the most out of a situation getting that information on Deimos, but they played directly into that. They're holding the missile stairwell.
Especially close on Rocket Stairs. Like, I imagine, though, to be fair, Chiefs were actually very passive with that in situations like that yesterday. They could have just brute forced a guy, death marked with the revolver. So if you watched the game yesterday, you might be thinking, I'm safer. But if you're just in the moment, it's a tense game, you're thinking this revolver is going to come around the corner at Mach 5 and I'm dead. So yep. I understand the antsiness.
Yep, try and catch him off guard, but the shoe was on the other foot. Chiefs more than capable and strategically sound in that way. So be able to get away with a lot of value here inside of these opening 2 minutes. Take down Skirmishes, take down Shoe Reap, but now Chibisu fighting back. He's got that shotgun in hand, and it does absolutely nothing. Jigsaw lives. They gun down all of CAG. It's all up to Black Ray with 45 seconds remaining, but I highly doubt that he survives all that long. An immediate refrag from Oda, and this is the first pop-off of really any emotion that we've seen out of Chiefs in the last hour and a half.
I know my tone might be calm. I'm actually, like, he was not going to win that round. It was not going to turn the tides that much. That is actually the most egregious rob of a shotgun kill I have ever seen. He's like 5 feet away. The pellets hit him in the shoulder.
You gotta, hey, it's all about hopes and dreams. That's what gets loaded into the M590.
You think they're not dreaming right now? That was match point.
No, they're a little worrisome. They're begging the M590 to do its job, and it goes, no, I don't want to.
Well, either way, again, it wasn't going to win them the whole round, but feels kind of like a good summary of this second half at this point, which is CAG seem to be trying things, and they're just getting shut down by Chiefs at every turn. Let's reverse chronological order. That round, they try to play more aggressive. They play right in the Chiefs' hands. They're ready for the Vigil and the Mozzie. Round before that, we get a win, so it's okay. But round before that, what happens? Well, we have a series of events of things like, well, a guy just flanks up R6, takes down 2 people.
Yep.
Another guy flanks down green, able to find a hole in the site, forces them to go for a retake, but they've still cleared out the site. They've got a man advantage. Chiefs can finish the round anyway. CAG have been setting these things up. They have been trying to hold tightly onto the site and trying to play aggressive, and each time that's happened, when they've anchored, they played close together, there's still a gap they forget about. When they try to play aggressive, Chiefs play passive, win the gunfight. No matter what CAG have tried, Chiefs on this attack have been able to find the weakness or find the opportunity, whether given to them or taken. And that's found them on match point. And while they really, really struggled on Consulate, the emotion might just now be coming back. But the skill, the success, it's been here.
This best of 3 has been a struggle for both of these teams respectively. But for Chiefs, it will be a sigh of relief, a breath of fresh air, and a newfound existence, really, if they're able to take this away from CAG. As time and time again, it seems so close in these rounds as to how things can break away from one another. And so far, Chiefs have been able to bubble to the surface and make the most out of Lair. CAG just have not found enough success, specifically on this defensive side where Chiefs have seemed utterly dominant. And oh, Chibisu, That's such a risk. It's a risk he's willing to take, but one that immediately goes awry. Oh man, the aggressive shot of the M590. Unfortunately enough for Cairo, he skirts the door frame right before that blast enters the space.
If the nerves are hitting CAG, you want to be able to tell with plays like that. Blackray not wanting to leave this 4v5 to exist and rot any longer. His luck will not go his way. No hope for the M590 at that moment. Chiefs still have that 4v5. I think at this point, Blackray might have started their spirits high on Lair, even kept it solid at the 3-3. But now you're starting to think, now you're starting to worry at the heights we're able to achieve at Manchester and what that'll mean now. 1 round away from knocking BDS out, and now as Chiefs reset, it's you who are on the back foot.
Yeah, but has it disintegrated too far, Carter? That's the main thing. Has it gotten too far out of the clutches of CAG? So far, it seemed to be exactly that, right? Yeah, Jigsaw with yet another pickup, and it goes completely unanswered.
They might have to come down to Sheer right here.
Huge
Smoke
play.
canister goes out, but somebody's watching this flank. A must-win fight for CAG as 5 seconds tick off of that toxic canister. Cairo holding 2 shots. 2 shots, and the Vigil might be gone. The first one goes wide. He pulls back and waits. K1A a bit better, but the Vigil will think better of it. The Dokumi falls down, and that's Diffuser.
Oda?
Quiz hops in the window.
Oda
hops in the window.
My God.
They regain the advantage, but it's a 2v2. Shureep's found the moment, and now he needs the play. Quiz has recovered it, swings around, headshot found, even HP on both sides, but Diffuser control for CAG, and time on his side. Only 12 seconds left in impact hole. The pistol, 1 shot around the corner, but that cost precious seconds. Precious time with only 5 seconds remaining. Jigsaw moves into the site. Patient Shureep, you need to play it safe. Sprinting into the arms of Chiefs. They give OS the opening they need to knock out our first Japanese team from the Montreal Major.